Chapter 51-55. The Attack of a Golden Immortal. Naturally, it was extremely terrifying. Even though the Golden Immortal who attacked was already severely injured, no one dared to underestimate this Golden Immortal. If they dared to underestimate this Golden Immortal, they would be courting death. Now, this Golden Immortal had displayed an extremely heaven-defying combat strength. The power of that palm strike was extremely terrifying. Even Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. This guy was so severely injured, how could his attack still be so powerful? Fortunately, Lin Feng had been very cautious from the beginning to the end, so he had enough time to deal with the attack of the Shui clan Golden Immortal. Lin Feng had taken out the ruler's armor. Naturally, he had to be careful when fighting against the Golden Immortal. Therefore, Lin Feng took out this defensive magic treasure to protect himself. In this way, the ruler's armor could reduce about 60% of the opponent's attack power. Lin Feng could use some of his powerful techniques to neutralize the remaining attack power. After Lin Feng took out the ruler's armor, he connected with the magic lotus, the ruler's armor, his external avatar, the sage bone, and the golden dwarf. Suddenly, Lin Feng's strength began to soar rapidly. As his strength soared, so did his combat strength. It didn't take long for Lin Feng to feel that his every move seemed to have the power to turn the world upside down. Such a terrifying combat strength was naturally extremely shocking. Lin Feng directly condensed the shadow of the door of everlasting life and suppressed it towards the Shui clan Golden Immortal. Bang! Following the violent collision, the shadow of the door of everlasting life that Lin Feng condensed collided with the palm strike of the Shui clan Golden Immortal. After the tyrannical collision, all the Shui clan members who were rushing over couldn't help but be shocked and moved. Therefore, they saw that Lin Feng was actually evenly matched with their Shui clan Golden Immortal. The Shui clan cultivators naturally didn't think that their Golden Immortal was injured by Lin Feng. They didn't believe that Lin Feng had such combat strength. They felt that Lin Feng must have used some despicable method to sneak attack their Golden Immortal. When their Golden Immortal attacked, wouldn't it be easy to kill Lin Feng? However, the reality wasn't like that. The Shui clan Golden Immortal couldn't do anything to Lin Feng. Although the Shui clan Golden Immortal's combat strength had greatly decreased due to his injuries, it shouldn't be something that a young cultivator could contend against. However, Lin Feng blocked the attack of the Shui clan Golden Immortal. After thinking about Lin Feng's combat strength, many people couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Lin Feng was so terrifying at such a young age. How terrifying would he be in the future? Now that they had offended Lin Feng, many people felt a chill down their backs. If they couldn't kill Lin Feng, they would definitely bring disaster to their clan in the future. No one doubted this at all. Now, they couldn't help but panic in their hearts. "You're no longer capable. Your time has passed," said Lin Feng indifferently. After blocking the attack of the Shui clan's Golden Celestial Cultivator, he quickly moved towards him. Lin Feng arrived next to the Shui clan's Golden Celestial Cultivator, and released 6 times the strength of his draconic elephant arm. He attacked the Shui clan's Golden Celestial Cultivator. "Brat, it's too early to talk big. Today, I'll let you know how powerful this seed is." The Golden Celestial Cultivator of the Shui clan looked at Lin Feng indifferently. He was a Golden Celestial Cultivator. His physical body was indestructible. How could he be afraid of fighting against Lin Feng? Therefore, when facing Lin Feng's physical attack, the Shui clan's Golden Celestial wasn't afraid at all. He threw a punch which tore through the air. The strength of a Golden Celestial's punch was incredible. Golden Celestial's physical strength was naturally different from ordinary cultivators. Bang! 2 stars collided violently. Lin Feng and the Golden Celestial Cultivator of the Shui clan collided. Their physical bodies collided. Lin Feng and the Shui clan's Golden Celestial Cultivator collided. Lin Feng didn't move at all, but the Shui clan Golden Immortal was like a kite with a broken string. His arm was broken. The broken bone pierced through his skin. "This is impossible!" Seeing this scene, the Shui clan cultivators couldn't believe their eyes. A Golden Immortal's physical body could break through the void. How strong was his physical body? Physical body. It could be said to be one of the trump cards of a golden immortal. Compared to other cultivators, a golden immortal's physical body had a huge advantage. Besides being a golden immortal, the bloodline of the Shui clan golden immortal also flowed in their veins. Therefore, their physical body was naturally strong. Under the support of these two factors, the strength of the Shui clan golden immortal's physical body was imaginable. But even so, when the Shui clan golden immortal clashed with Lin Feng's physical body, he was actually defeated. This was what the Shui clan cultivators couldn't accept. Lin Feng was indeed strong, but as a human, Lin Feng's biggest weakness was his physical body. However, the situation wasn't like that. Lin Feng's physical body wasn't his weakness. On the contrary, Lin Feng's physical body was extremely strong. It was so strong that it made the Shui clan cultivators pale in shock. His Fa Li was strong, his sacred art was powerful, and his physical body was terrifying. In the eyes of many, Lin Feng didn't have any weaknesses. This is impossible. How can a human's physical body be so strong? The golden immortal from the Shui clan also let out a roar of disbelief. He couldn't accept this. No matter what happens to a human cultivator, it's not surprising. Because humans are a race that can create miracles. Lin Feng looked at the golden celestial immortal of the Shui clan indifferently. He quickly moved towards the golden celestial immortal of the Shui clan. He wanted to kill him as soon as possible. The Shui clan golden immortal's face turned extremely ugly. He knew that he had lost the upper hand. Therefore, he turned around and fled. You can't escape. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He quickly gave chase and punched towards the Shui clan golden immortal. The Shui clan golden immortal hurriedly blocked Lin Feng's attack, but he was still sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. His injuries worsened. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He leaped out and turned into a ray of sword qi. Lin Feng used the sacred art man from the outer heavens. One sword can kill immortals. A poochie sound was heard. Fresh blood spurted out. Lin Feng turned into sword qi and cut off the head of the Shui clan's golden celestial cultivator. Chapter 51-56. The Golden Immortal lost. How is that possible? The Golden Immortal is an invincible existence, how could he lose? And he was defeated by a young cultivator. But the Golden Immortal was defeated, and it was a terrible defeat. What should we do next? He won't start a massacre on our Shui clan, right? Let's run away now. The cultivators of the Shui clan started discussing. Everyone had a terrified expression on their faces. Their clan's Golden Immortal had been beheaded by Lin Feng. That was a huge shock to them. Even the Dao Immortal ancestor of the Shui clan, who had received Lin Feng before, paled. Go, go, go! The Dao Immortal old ancestor was scared out of his wits by Lin Feng and didn't dare to stay any longer. He was worried that he would die miserably if he stayed any longer, so he turned and ran outside. Seeing the Dao Immortal old ancestor running away, the rest of the cultivators didn't dare to stay any longer. The rest of the cultivators also ran away. Lin Feng didn't care about the cultivators who were running away, they were just small fries. He smashed the Golden Immortal old ancestor's body into pieces, leaving only a ball of source energy in the void. Lin Feng kept it. This was the Golden Immortal's source energy. If he refined it, he should be able to reach the Earth Immortal realm, right? Thinking about that, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel excited. If he could break through to the Earth Immortal layer, that would be amazing. Even though there was only one level between the Human Immortal layer and the Earth Immortal layer, the difference between the two levels was huge, just like the difference between the Dao Immortal layer and the Golden Immortal layer. Dao Immortals were like ants in front of Golden Immortals, they weren't even on the same level. This was a huge gap. Human Immortals were the same in front of Dao Immortals. After all, the number of cultivators who could challenge those of a higher realm was very small. After collecting the Golden Immortal's source energy, Lin Feng grabbed the Golden Immortal's head. Don't kill me! Don't kill me! The head began to beg for mercy. Just now, when Lin Feng had beheaded him, he had deliberately held back his strength. Therefore, his soul hadn't been destroyed. "Where is the snow dragon grass?" Lin Feng asked indifferently. "If you don't kill me, I'll tell you where the snow dragon grass is." The golden immortal from the Shui clan bargained. Lin Feng sneered and said, "Do you think you are qualified to negotiate with me now? You must be daydreaming." After saying that, Lin Feng directly captured the soul that was hiding in the skull. Lin Feng then threw the head to the ground. He summoned the heavenly flame. The heavenly fire burned fiercely. As the heavenly fire burned, the golden immortal soul let out an incomparably shrill scream. The heavenly fire was extremely harmful to the soul. However, as long as he controlled it well, the other party's soul wouldn't be destroyed. There would only be unbearable pain. It was as if he was being burned by the flames of hell. Living was worse than death. Very few people could withstand such pain. "Kill me! Hurry up and kill me!" The golden immortal begged loudly. He couldn't bear it. Living. It was more painful than death. Lin Feng said indifferently. "Where is it?" "In the treasury. The treasury is in the depths of the courtyard," the golden immortal's soul hurriedly said. Lin Feng didn't stop. He directly soared into the sky. Soon, he arrived at the deepest part of the courtyard. Originally, this place was heavily guarded, but now, there was no one. The people here. They had all run away. The treasury's gate was built magnificently. There was a picture of a giant dragon on it. That giant dragon was lifelike. It was as if it could fly out of the gate at any time, and then become a real dragon. Around the gate, there was a terrifying killing intent that couldn't be concealed. This place was densely covered with restrictions. Once a restriction was triggered, one would be attacked by the restriction. "How do I open the gate?" Lin Feng said. The eyes of the golden immortal soul turned. He was about to speak. Lin Feng sneered and said, "No one here is a fool. Whether you want to tell the truth or not, you should think carefully. I don't need to say more." After hearing Lin Feng's words, the golden immortal's soul knew that Lin Feng had seen through his trick. He didn't dare to lie any more and told the truth. "The left gate, the left dragon eye is the first switch, the dragon's reverse scale is the second switch, and the dragon claw below is the third switch. These three switches need to be touched at the same time to open the gate. The first switch needs to be twisted half a turn to the left, the second switch needs to be twisted to the right, and the third switch needs to be gently kicked. That's all." After hearing the golden immortal's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. It was actually so troublesome to set up the switches. If someone who didn't know tried to open the gate, they would definitely be attacked by the restriction. Lin Feng couldn't verify whether this guy was telling the truth or not, so Lin Feng didn't do it himself. He took out a humanoid puppet that he had refined before and let it try. The humanoid puppet went to the gate and tried according to the golden immortal's words. A loud rumbling sound resounded through heaven and earth, and the gate moved to the side. After the gate opened, Lin Feng entered the secret room. The secret room had its own space. The space inside was very big, and there were countless treasures piled up. These treasures were the treasures that the Shui clan of Tianshui City had accumulated over countless years. In addition to the treasures that the Shui clan of Tianshui City had accumulated, there were also some treasures taken out from the ancestral land that the Shui clan of Tianshui City had helped to auction and sell. Therefore, there were too many treasures here. Lin Feng summoned over 100 humanoid puppets. He let these puppets store these treasures in time and space. The puppets began to get busy, and a large number of treasures were stored in time and space. Lin Feng looked at the golden immortal soul and asked, "Where is the snow dragon grass?" "On a metal shelf in the depths, there is a white jade box emitting a terrifying cold chi. It contains the snow dragon grass," the golden immortal soul said. Lin Feng nodded and quickly flew towards the depths. He saw that there were many metal shelves in the depths, but Lin Feng still found the white jade box at a glance because it was emitting a terrifying cold chi. Lin Feng flew over and opened the white jade box. Sure enough, There was a snow-white immortal grass inside. This was the snow dragon grass. Lin Feng put the white jade box away. The puppets were very fast. As soon as Lin Feng put the white jade box away, the puppets also took the treasures around Lin Feng into time and space. After that, the treasures in the treasury were quickly emptied. Lin Feng didn't stop. After putting the puppets away, he quickly flew outside. "You're finally out." When Lin Feng came out of the treasury, he heard a voice. Lin Feng looked over and saw a handsome cultivator. When he saw this person, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. Di Wudao. It was actually Di Wudao. Lin Feng had seen a portrait of Di Wudao before, so he recognized him at a glance. Chapter 51-57. Di Wudao's strength didn't need to be mentioned. He was a super genius who could challenge people several realms higher than him. Lin Feng had heard some rumors about Di Wudao. For example, Di Wudao wasn't the son of the Celestial Emperor. He was actually the son of the Celestial Emperor and Di Wudao's mother. If that was the case, then Di Wudao's talent was much more terrifying than one could imagine. The Celestial Emperor couldn't be compared to the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Emperor. The Celestial Emperor was only the ruler of the undying world in a half-higher plane, while the Celestial Emperor was the ruler of a higher plane. The difference between the two couldn't be calculated. Of course, no one knew if these rumors were true. But no matter whether the news was true or not, one thing was for sure. Since he had become a true celestial being, Di Wudao's cultivation level had reached an unfathomable level. Nobody knew how strong he was. Lin Feng didn't know either, but he had the impression that Di Wudao couldn't compete with him. When he faced Di Wudao, Lin Feng sensed an oppressive pressure he had never sensed before. It was even more oppressive than when he was facing a golden celestial cultivator. Di Wudao was really strong. "When did you arrive?" Lin Feng took a deep breath and asked. "When you opened the door and didn't enter, I was already here," Di Wudao said casually. Di Wudao looked like he had everything under his control. The current Di Wudao was truly terrifying. He had everything under his control, everything was beneath his eyes. Maybe only someone with such a personality would be able to become a supreme expert, right? "Why didn't you stop me from entering?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Di Wudao smiled and said, "Don't you think that making someone fall from heaven to hell is something to be happy about?" When Lin Feng heard Di Wudao, he pulled a long face. He knew that Di Wudao was talking about the treasures he had obtained in the treasury. When he had entered the treasury, he had been extremely happy. It had been like going to heaven, hadn't it? But when he came out and met Di Wudao, wasn't it like falling into hell? Lin Feng said. "You're too arrogant," Di Wudao said indifferently. "Arrogant? I don't think so. I'm from the same era as your father. Although you've grown fast, how could you know my methods?" You think you're from the same era as my father? Don't forget that back then, you were just a dog by my father's side. Unfortunately, my father didn't see your true face. Otherwise, everything wouldn't have happened," Lin Feng said mockingly. "Ha ha! You don't even know what happened back then, yet you're spouting nonsense here. How laughable!" Di Wudao sneered. "What happened?" Lin Feng asked. Di Wudao's expression was indifferent. "In the beginning, I truly followed your father wholeheartedly. However, as time passed, my heart changed. Do you know why I changed? It's all because of your father. Why is it that both of us have outstanding talent, but your father has so many great opportunities, and even awakened his own fate bloodline? Why is it that so many good things happen to your father, and I can only watch as they happen to me? I can't accept it, so I want to destroy him." Lin Feng sneered. "Back then, my father had so many followers. Why didn't they act like you? To put it bluntly, you're just a selfish person. You're just trying to hide your despicable and shameless nature. Besides, didn't my father help you back then? I've heard Uncle Dugia talk about some of the things that happened in the past. You've all received the blessings of fate by my father's side. You've all received great benefits, and my father has never forgotten about you. My father even changed your destinies for you. He did everything he could, but how did you repay him? You're evil and despicable, so don't try to find excuses. I thought you were a despicable person, but now it seems that calling you a despicable person is an insult to the word despicable. You're a despicable person who doesn't know how to be grateful. You don't deserve to be called a human, said Di Woodao, smiling coldly. Do you think you can change the fate of your father, your mother, and your father's followers? What's done can't be undone. Back then, I killed your uncle, and in the future, I'll kill your father. But don't worry, I won't kill you now. I can't bear to kill you. I'll capture you and use you to force your father to show himself. I want him to kneel in front of me and beg me to spare your life. I think that scene will be very exciting. At this point, Di Wodao's face revealed a hint of madness. You're a psychopath, said Lin Feng gloomily. Hee, whatever you say. All I know is that I'm the winner, said Di Wodao, smiling. Then he walked towards Lin Feng step by step. I've heard a lot about you. I heard that your cultivation level has increased very quickly. I'm very curious. How's your cultivation level now? Let me see how strong you are. As soon as he finished speaking, Di Wodao gently pressed down across the void. In an instant, a gigantic energy hand appeared above Di Wodao. That gigantic energy hand seemed to have the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. It moved directly towards Lin Feng. When Lin Feng sensed that gigantic energy hand, his face turned pale with fright. Terrifying! Too terrifying! Di Wodao's casual attack! How could it be so terrifying? How terrifying! How terrifying! Lin Feng had heard that Di Wodao had been able to break through to the true immortal realm for a long time, but he hadn't been able to break through to the true immortal realm. Di Wodao had been accumulating more and more energy. As he accumulated more and more energy, breaking through to the true immortal realm became more and more difficult. But if he succeeded, his fighting strength would increase by an unimaginable amount. Now that Di Wodao had broken through, his fighting strength had reached a level that made people despair. Chapter 51-58. However, Lin Feng was no longer the same person as before. Therefore, in the face of Di Wodao's attack, Lin Feng was not completely defenseless. Lin Feng channeled his dermic powers. He immediately unleashed the powerful divine ability, Aeon Nullification. This was the supreme technique of the human tribe of the last era. Now that Lin Feng had unleashed it, it immediately displayed an extremely powerful force. An ancient world appeared in front of Lin Feng. It was as if the ancient space-time had been integrated into this ancient world. Under Lin Feng's control, Aeon Nullification directly met Di Wodao's divine ability head-on. Bang! Accompanied by a violent collision sound, the divine abilities of both sides collided violently. Then, something terrifying happened. Di Wodao's condensed energy palm directly broke Lin Feng's divine ability. Di Wodao. He did not use any divine ability at all. He merely condensed an energy palm. It was a very casual attack, but it was so powerful. This was completely out of Lin Feng's expectations. Therefore, Lin Feng could not help but reveal an expression of disbelief. In the face of Di Wodao's overbearing attack, Lin Feng's heart was extremely unsettled. After breaking Lin Feng's divine ability, Di Wodao's condensed energy palm continued to move toward Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng dodged Di Wodao's attack one step ahead. Di Wodao's attack landed in the air and then dissipated. Lin Feng could not help but feel a lingering fear. If he had been hit by Di Wodao's attack just now, it would have been quite troublesome. Lin Feng despised Di Wodao's character, but he had to admit that Di Wodao was indeed powerful. After breaking through to the true immortal realm, Di Wodao was no longer immortal. He was a true immortal. The difference between immortal and mortal allowed Di Wodao to undergo a major transformation. He was originally a monster like Lin Feng. Now that he had reached the true immortal realm, Lin Feng naturally did not find it strange that he had such combat strength. Haha, you're really pitifully weak, Di Wodao said mockingly. Lin Feng replied with a cold smile. How many years have you cultivated? How many years have I cultivated? You can't even defeat me in an instant at your level, and you have the nerve to say that I'm pitifully weak? What a joke! Are you comforting yourself? If I were at the same level as you, do you believe that I could crush you as easily as crushing an ant? Hearing Lin Feng's mockery, Di Wudao was not angry. This guy's ability to endure was really strong. Di Wudao said, You didn't inherit your father's modesty at all. I don't need to be exactly like my father. I am me, Lin Feng said with a cold smile. You're a man with your own thoughts, but so what? Your fate was already sealed when you met me. Today, no one in the world can save your life. Flowing light phantom. Di Wudao sneered. As soon as he finished speaking, his body turned into a phantom. This was an extremely terrifying divine ability. Once the flowing light phantom was used, it could lock onto the target's position. Then, the cultivator who used this divine ability would appear in front of the targeted cultivator at the fastest speed possible. Then, he would launch a powerful attack on the targeted cultivator. Many people didn't even know what was going on before they were defeated by the opponent. Di Wudao's control of this divine ability had obviously reached an extremely high level. When he used this divine ability, he turned into a phantom. The phantom was so fast that it was almost impossible for people to react. If it were someone else, they might not have been able to react in time, and would have been attacked by Di Wudao. However, Lin Feng was different. Lin Feng's speed was unparalleled in the world, and his reaction speed was also unbelievably fast. Therefore, when Di Wudao came to his side, Lin Feng quickly retreated and put some distance between him and Di Wudao. Di Wudao's lips curled into a cold smile. He quickly chased after Lin Feng. The power of the flowing light phantom was displayed at this moment. Since Lin Feng was locked onto by Di Wudao was able to catch up to Lin Feng immediately and attack Lin Feng with the palm. After sensing Di Wudao's terrifying attack, Lin Feng's face darkened. He activated the Supreme Reincarnation Fist and attacked Di Wudao. Lin Feng activated the thousands of divine abilities that he had cultivated, continuously increasing the power of his punch. Lin Feng's punch instantly reached the peak of its power. Bang! The two sides collided again. At that moment, Lin Feng had the feeling that an earth-shattering strength was penetrating into his body. That power instantly broke Lin Feng's divine ability. The Supreme Reincarnation Fist. It was Lin Feng's most powerful divine ability. However, it took on Di Wudao's terrifying attack. It was broken instantly. Lin Feng was in disbelief. Di Wudao was too powerful, wasn't he? That earth-shattering power crashed into Lin Feng's body and instantly sent Lin Feng flying. The Sovereign's armor dissipated a large portion of the power. The remaining power was neutralized by Lin Feng's magical immunity and strong physical body. Even so, Lin Feng still felt like his insides were burning. Cough, cough. Lin Feng couldn't help but cough violently. Interesting, but you're still too weak. Take another hit from me. Di Wudao's lips curled into a disdainful smile. He struck out another palm at Lin Feng. After Di Wudao struck out with his palm, the power of heaven and earth, it quickly gathered. The energy turned into a giant energy palm. That energy palm contained the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. Di Wudao. He seemed to be getting serious. That destructive giant energy palm rushed towards Lin Feng. Originally, Lin Feng wanted to use his divine ability to counter the attack of the giant energy palm. However, when the giant energy palm approached him, Lin Feng completely gave up on that idea. That was because the giant energy palm was too powerful. There was no way to counter it. Lin Feng quickly used the heaven patching technique. He borrowed another chance from the heavens. When the gigantic hand was about to crash onto Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng's expression changed. Swoosh! There was a flash of light. Lin Feng immediately disappeared without a trace. When Lin Feng appeared again, he was already 100 meters away. He was panting slightly. The expression on his face was unprecedentedly serious. Chapter 51-59. Before Di Wudao's arrival, the battle between Lin Feng and the Golden Immortal from the Shui clan had already attracted the attention of many cultivators. After Di Wudao's arrival, the area was completely surrounded. Even the Shui clan's Golden Immortal was killed by that human cultivator. But now, that human cultivator is being suppressed. Who is that human cultivator fighting against that human cultivator? How is he so strong? Asked a cultivator doubtfully. The cultivator who spoke clearly didn't know Di Wudao. In fact, there weren't many people who knew Di Wudao. Many people shook their heads. They also wanted to know who was fighting with Lin Feng. He's the Crown Prince, Di Wudao, said a cultivator at that moment. What? He's the Crown Prince, Di Wudao? Cries of surprise rose and fell one after another. Many people were shocked to hear the news. They didn't expect that person to be Di Wudao. In the Undying Realm, there were too many rumors about Di Wudao. Moreover, if nothing unexpected happened, Di Wudao would probably leave the Undying Realm after the Heavenly Emperor broke through to the Saint Realm. At that time, Di Wudao would inherit the position of Heavenly Emperor and become the 10th Heavenly Emperor. Then, he would take control of the Heavenly Court and become the ruler of the Undying Realm. Therefore, when people learned that the person fighting was Di Wudao, they naturally couldn't calm down. Who's the young human cultivator fighting with Di Wudao? Asked someone else. There were even fewer cultivators who knew Lin Feng, but that didn't mean that everyone didn't know Lin Feng. There were still some who knew Lin Feng, but they didn't say much. They didn't reveal Lin Feng's true identity. However, not all cultivators didn't reveal Lin Feng's identity. Someone said, "He's the Sinner's Blood Emperor, Lin Feng." The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard one after another. The Sinner's Blood Emperor. Lin Baitian's son. He was fighting with Di Wudao. Naturally, everyone had heard of the relationship between Di Wudao and Lin Baitian. Back then, Di Wudao wasn't known to everyone. Among the Celestial Emperor's children, Di Wudao was the least known. Everyone knew that the Sky Emperor had such a son, but very few people knew his name or what he looked like. Furthermore, it had always been widely rumored that this son was born after the Sky Emperor was cuckolded by the Lord of the Heaven Realm. Therefore, many people felt that the Celestial Emperor did not know his son well on purpose. There are some things in this world that are very strange. For example, many people like to believe some rumors. Many cultivators believe that Di Wudao was born because the Heaven Realm's Heaven Lord had cuckolded the Heavenly Emperor. If the Heavenly Emperor did not care about the Heavenly Master of the Heaven Realm, he would have killed his son long ago, right? Instead of killing his son, he hid everything about him. That was already the most benevolent thing he could do. Many people knew the story that followed. Di Wudao, who had been frustrated by his lack of success, decided to take Lin Baitian as his master by chance. At that time, Lin Baitian had no conflict with the Heavenly Court or the Heavenly Monarch. The hatred was only born later. Di Wudao only truly rose to prominence after following Lin Baitian. However, for the sake of benefits, Di Wudao later joined the mastermind behind the scenes in that unspeakable world. Lin Baitian and the others, on the other hand, ended up in a rather tragic state. Therefore, Lin Feng and Di Wudao naturally had an irreconcilable relationship. Lin Baitian's son hasn't been in the Undying Realm for long, right? He has actually grown to such an extent that he can even kill a Golden Immortal. This is truly unbelievable. A cultivator sighed. Don't think too highly of him. If he didn't use some special methods to severely injure the Shui clan's Golden Immortal, how could he be a match for a Golden Immortal with his battle strength? Someone curled his lips and said, "Although the Shui clan's Golden Immortal's battle strength has dropped after being injured, it is still extremely terrifying. Lin Feng has only cultivated for about 360 years, and he is already so powerful. What will happen in the future? Those who dare to underestimate Lin Feng will definitely not have a good ending. Therefore, when looking at things and problems, we can't just look at the surface, we have to look at the long term." A cultivator immediately retorted. Someone said, "If Lin Feng is given time, he will definitely become an incomparably terrifying existence. However, what Lin Feng lacks right now is time. Since Di Wudao has already appeared, he will definitely not give Lin Feng another chance. Yeah, Lin Feng is definitely finished this time. Many people nodded and agreed with the words of the cultivator just now. Heaven-mending art. This sacred art is quite interesting. As expected of Lin Baitian's son, you have quite a few tricks up your sleeve. However, it doesn't matter how many tricks you have. Now, it's time to end this. Di Wudao looked indifferently at Lin Feng. All-directional nirvana, Di Wudao said. His hands formed a seal. Clearly, Di Wudao was about to use a sacred art. Di Wudao didn't use a sacred art at all when he attacked just now. Even the energy palm attack was formed casually. It couldn't be considered a sacred art. Even so, it was still very powerful. Now that Di Wudao had used a sacred art, its power had reached an unfathomable level. Lin Feng felt that things were getting troublesome after Di Wudao's sacred art was formed. The sacred art's aura was too terrifying. It was an aura that made one's soul tremble. There was no way to fight against it. Lin Feng wanted to teleport away, but he found that the space around him had been sealed. He couldn't do that. Lin Feng gritted his teeth. Then, he took out the remaining 909 heavenly lightning source pearls. Then, the 9 heavenly lightning source pearls were ignited. Boom! With an earth-shattering explosion, all 909 heavenly lightning source pearls exploded, instantly destroying Di Wudao's sacred art. Then, the destructive power engulfed Di Wudao. Such terrifying energy directly shattered the void. What is that? How can the explosion be so terrifying? Even a golden immortal would be killed by it, right? Back then, was the explosion of the gold immortal from the Shui family the one that injured him? Can Di Wudao withstand the power of those pearls? Many cultivators cried out in alarm. 900 heavenly thunder essence pearls were extremely powerful. They were much more powerful than the 300 heavenly thunder essence pearls Lin Feng had used before. Therefore, when they saw the destructive energy of the 909 heavenly thunder source pearls surging towards Wudao Di, they felt uncertain. They didn't know if Wudao Di could withstand the attack of the 909 heavenly thunder source pearls. Chapter 5160. Sun and Moon Infinite Light Dome. Di Wudao was about to be engulfed by the destructive energy. However, at this moment, Di Wudao made his move. With a wave of his hand, a huge energy shield appeared in front of him. The energy shield contained a strong defensive power, as if it could block all attacks. When the majestic destructive power blasted towards him, it was all blocked by the energy shield. Lin Feng couldn't believe his eyes. The power of 909 heavenly thunder source pearls was indescribable. Lin Feng couldn't find any words to describe it. How could such a terrifying attack be blocked? Was Di Wudao really that strong? If that couldn't kill Di Wudao, what else could? At the very least, Lin Feng couldn't think of a way to kill Di Wudao. Di Wudao was an invincible existence, there was no way to kill him. Let's go! Lin Feng released empty space Dao. He wanted to leave, but Di Wudao smiled coldly. It's useless. I've already sealed the space around you. You can't leave. I told you, when you met me, your fate was sealed. Don't try to struggle anymore, said Di Wudao. Di Wudao blocked the 909 heavenly thunder source pearls and quickly flew towards Lin Feng. His body emitted a terrifying wave of energy. He was preparing a powerful attack to completely suppress Lin Feng. He didn't want to give Lin Feng any more chances because he was worried that Lin Feng had other tricks up his sleeve. He wanted to suppress Lin Feng once and for all. Di Wudao is getting serious. The battle is about to end, said a cultivator. Many people nodded. Many people nodded in agreement. Indeed, the battle was about to end. If Di Wudao became serious, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to resist his attacks. Even Lin Feng had a serious expression on his face. He was in trouble. Di Wudao was so strong that he didn't know what to do. He didn't even have the strength to fight back. It was a very frustrating feeling. Lin Feng was furious, but there were some things that he had to face. Di Wudao was someone from his father's generation and had been by his father's side for a long time. It would be strange if he was easy to deal with. However, Lin Feng had to think about how to deal with this dangerous situation. Lin Feng took out the epic war spear. Perhaps he had to fight Di Wudao. Hopefully, he would be able to find a way to escape during the battle. That was the only way Lin Feng could think of. Lin Feng couldn't think of anything else for now. At this critical moment, a huge vortex appeared in the sky and swallowed Di Wudao. Di Wudao hadn't expected such a vortex to appear. Even Lin Feng was stunned. That vortex wasn't created by him, so he didn't know what was going on. However, Lin Feng could sense that the vortex was strange. It was a vortex formed by an extremely strong curse power. What were cultivators most afraid of? What they were most afraid of was curses. That was because the curse was simply too bizarre. The saying that the unknown was the scariest was very true. Therefore, even someone as strong as Di Wudao couldn't help but feel a little gloomy when he sensed the curse vortex. If it were any other power, he could have easily destroyed the vortex. However, since the vortex was formed by curse power, Di Wudao had to be cautious. He quickly formed a shield of magic power to protect his body, preventing the curse power from invading his body. The curse vortex flew quickly towards Di Wudao. Di Wudao wanted to teleport away to avoid being swallowed by the vortex. However, Di Wudao couldn't do it. The curse vortex was very strange. After locking onto Di Wudao, it followed him like a shadow. There was no way for him to avoid it. Therefore, Di Wudao was swallowed by the vortex. After Di Wudao was swallowed by the vortex, a cursed door appeared in the sky. The cursed doll flew out of the cursed door. He looked at Lin Feng and shouted, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and leave!" Lin Feng was excited when he saw the cursed doll. He hadn't expected the cursed doll to be in a place like this. Moreover, the cursed doll had lent him a helping hand at a critical moment. It seemed like the cursed doll wasn't bad at all. Although it could be a little tricky at times, it was still a trustworthy companion. Lin Feng quickly flew towards the cursed doll. He entered the cursed door with the cursed doll. Then, the cursed door disappeared. At that moment, the curse vortex shattered. Di Wudao rushed out of the vortex. Damn it! Even with Di Wudao's mentality, he couldn't help but roar when he saw Lin Feng escape. He had been so close to capturing Lin Feng. He had already planned everything after capturing Lin Feng. However, it had all been for naught. It would be strange if Di Wudao was in a good mood. "Lin Feng, you won't be able to escape from me next time," Di Wudao said with a dark expression. Then, Di Wudao turned invisible and quickly left the place. Shwa! In the forest, light flashed and Lin Feng and the cursed doll flew out from the void. Damn! You're amazing! You can't even defeat Di Wudao after exchanging so many moves with him. Even the old lady who tried to scam others is impressed by you, the cursed doll shouted. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Don't mention it. I'm embarrassed. Di Wudao was too careless. Otherwise, he would have captured me long ago. I knew that Di Wudao would be very strong after breaking through to the true immortal stage, but I didn't expect him to be this strong. It's unbelievable. I really don't know how he cultivates. Is his talent even greater than mine? This was what puzzled Lin Feng. In terms of talent, he felt that he was even more talented than his father, Lin Feng, let alone Di Wudao. However, Di Wudao's combat power was clearly above that of a golden immortal. This was what puzzled Lin Feng the most. Lin Feng felt that with his talent, having Di Wudao's combat power after breaking through to the true immortal stage was already quite good. Di Wudao's current combat power had truly shocked Lin Feng. Logically speaking, Di Wudao shouldn't be this strong, but the truth was that Di Wudao was indeed so strong that Lin Feng couldn't believe it. In terms of talent, Di Wudao is much weaker than you. However, there's one thing that you can't compare to him. This is also the reason why he's so strong. Oh? What's so outstanding about Di Wudao? Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll doubtfully. Chapter 5161. You must have heard about Diwu Dao's mother, right? The cursed doll didn't answer Lin Feng's question directly. Instead, it asked Lin Feng the question. Lin Feng nodded. Of course I've heard a lot about his mother, but I don't know what you're talking about. The cursed doll smirked and said, I'm talking about Diwu Dao's mother and the mysterious master of the Heavenly Master. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Are you trying to say that Diwu Dao's mother really had an affair with his master? Diwu Dao isn't the son of the Celestial Emperor? He's actually the son of the Celestial Emperor? The cursed doll said. I didn't say that. Only the people involved would know. How could people like us know? That's why I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that Diwu Dao's strength is related to the Celestial Emperor. The Celestial Emperor is Diwu Dao's ancestor. Lin Feng nodded. Their relationship was similar to his relationship with Wang Mingchuan. Wang Mingchuan was his mother's master, so according to seniority, he should call Wang Mingchuan ancestor. Said the cursed doll. As a celestial master, his means are naturally terrifying, and he has countless treasures. I heard that the celestial master once killed a saint, and that saint had cultivated a holy embryo. When Diwu Dao was born, the celestial master gave him the holy embryo. The reason why Diwu Dao is so strong is closely related to the holy embryo. Damn, this guy is really lucky. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh in amazement. He was a little envious of Diwu Dao. Lin Feng suddenly thought of Princess Shui Yao. She also had a holy embryo. He wondered if Princess Shui Yao had already grasped the holy embryo's power. There's no need for you to be envious of him. You're already very strong. When you were Diwu Dao's age, I dare say that you could easily crush him. Take your time. Time waits for no man. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. There was a sense of urgency in his heart. Now that the enemy was right in front of them, it was naturally a terrible thing for them to not be able to fully increase their strength. This time, he was able to escape successfully because of the cursed doll's help. But what about next time? You can't expect someone to help you every time, right? Therefore, Lin Feng really wanted to increase his cultivation as quickly as possible. Go, Lin Feng said. Where to? Cursed doll asked. Go into seclusion and refine the golden immortal's origin, Lin Feng said. Looks like you're going to break through again. The cursed doll grinned. Lin Feng and the cursed doll entered the depths of the mountain forest. Then, Lin Feng found a secluded place and opened up a cave. After sealing the cave with a restriction, he began to cultivate in seclusion. With the cursed doll guarding him, Lin Feng did not have to worry about being disturbed. Lin Feng took out the golden immortal's origin and began to refine it. The golden immortal's origin emitted an astonishing energy fluctuation. When he felt the aura of the golden immortal's origin, Lin Feng even felt the magic power in his body begin to stir. The magic power in his body seemed to want to complete a transformation. In fact, some of the top Dao Immortal's origin could also increase Lin Feng's cultivation. However, this kind of increase was limited to a small realm. If he wanted to break through to the Earth Immortal realm, it was impossible to do so just by using the Dao Immortal's origin. Breaking through to the Earth Immortal realm required the Golden Immortal's origin. As the Golden Immortal's origin was refined by Lin Feng, the magic power in Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng's origin, Lin Feng's soul, Lin Feng's body and so on all began to transform. This kind of transformation. It allowed Lin Feng to become stronger and stronger. The fluctuations coming from Lin Feng's body also became more and more terrifying. The cursed doll glanced at Lin Feng from time to time with a shocked expression in his eyes. He could feel a terrifying power that could topple mountains and overturn seas from Lin Feng's body. Logically speaking, breaking through to the Earth Immortal realm shouldn't be so powerful, but Lin Feng was so powerful. It was really unbelievable. No matter what happened, as long as it happened to Lin Feng, it seemed to be understandable. It wasn't the first day that the cursed doll knew Lin Feng, so he could naturally understand all of this. Lin Feng's life level had reached the edge of transformation. In fact, many people would choose to break through to the half-step Earth Immortal realm to break through. However, Lin Feng didn't want to overdo it in this realm. He wanted to break through to the Earth Immortal realm directly. In time and space, the immortal mountains piled up by the high-grade immortal stones burned directly. After the high-grade immortal stones burned, they produced a large amount of energy. The energy continuously poured into Lin Feng's body. A cultivator's breakthrough wasn't something that could be achieved just because he wanted to. Being a cultivator was a profession that drank money the most. Without money, there was no need to talk about breaking through. What were immortal stones? For cultivators, immortal stones were money. The stronger one's cultivation was, the more immortal stones one needed to break through. So why was it so difficult for a top expert to appear among the rogue cultivators? It was mainly because rogue cultivators couldn't get enough cultivation resources. For example, a rogue cultivator had accumulated enough and was about to break through. He needed 100 million immortal stones to break through. If he had 100 million immortal stones, he might not be able to break through successfully. However, it could also greatly increase the success rate of this rogue cultivator. If he didn't have 100 million immortal stones, that would be terrible. If he wanted to break through, he would think about it in his next life. If it was a cultivator from a big sect, it would be different. They basically wouldn't need to worry about the cultivation resources they needed to break through. If they were talented, they would be heavily nurtured by their sect. All these years. Everything about Lin Feng. He had worked hard on his own. Although Lin Feng had established many forces, to be honest, Lin Feng would often take out a lot of cultivation resources to maintain the operation of these forces. He had never drawn wealth from these forces. In essence, this was the case. Lin Feng was still a rogue cultivator. It was indeed not easy for him to be able to fight his way to where he was now. At this moment, the light of tribulation flickered between Lin Feng's eyebrows. Lin Feng was about to transcend the tribulation. The real tribulation had yet to begin. The most dangerous time was when he was transcending the tribulation. When he was transcending the tribulation, he would need more immortal stones. Of course, Lin Feng didn't lack immortal stones. Even 1 trillion immortal stones were nothing to Lin Feng. The cursed doll flew out. After seeing the rolling lightning sea outside, he couldn't help but gasp. This was because he had seen many thunder gods in the Thunder Ocean. For example, the War God, Mighty Miracle God, and other gods condensed from lightning. Damn, the lightning tribulation hasn't started yet and there are already so many gods in the lightning sea. What kind of tribulation is this guy going to transcend? Could it be the end of the gods? The cursed doll thought of a legendary tribulation. But when he thought of that tribulation, the cursed doll quickly shook his head. He didn't dare to believe that Lin Feng would transcend such a tribulation. The end of the gods. It was the tribulation when one broke through to the Saint Realm. Moreover, among the cultivators who broke through to the Saint Realm, those who transcended the end of the gods were as rare as phoenix feathers and Shilin horns. Any cultivator who transcended such a tribulation. Basically, they died in the tribulation. Lin Feng had only broken through to the Earth Immortal realm. How could he transcend a tribulation like the end of the gods? However, as time passed, more and more gods condensed in the lightning sea and the gods condensed became stronger. He increasingly felt that this tribulation was really the end of the gods and the legends. At this moment, Lin Feng walked out of the cave and quickly flew into the sky. Lin Feng was ready to transcend the tribulation. Chapter 5162. The cursed doll looked at Lin Feng with envy and jealousy because it had personally witnessed how Lin Feng had transcended the tribulation. The cursed doll was certain that the tribulation was the legendary doomsday of the gods. However, it was still resolved by Lin Feng. Many people would definitely die when facing such a tribulation. How did Lin Feng, a human immortal, successfully transcend the doomsday of the gods? Even now, the cursed doll still didn't understand why he had successfully transcended the tribulation. After breaking through to the Earth Immortal realm, Lin Feng seemed to have changed a little, but the cursed doll couldn't pinpoint exactly what had changed. However, the cursed doll was certain that Lin Feng was no longer the same as before. The Earth Immortal Realm wasn't something a human Immortal Realm cultivator could compare to. As for strength, it was like the difference between heaven and earth. They couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Lin Feng said weakly. Find a place, I need to recover properly. Lin Feng looked quite miserable right now. His body was covered in wounds. If it wasn't for his undying bloodline, he would have died countless times during the tribulation. Luckily, he had passed the Kulpa test of the gods' tribulation. Now, Lin Feng's cultivation level was at the first Earth celestial layer. Lin Feng's soul was at the top of the Tao celestial layer. Lin Feng's physical body had broken through to the golden celestial immortal layer. Lin Feng's physical strength was comparable to that of a golden celestial cultivator. Lin Feng's physical strength was comparable to that of a golden celestial cultivator. Lin Feng's physical strength was comparable to that of a golden celestial cultivator. The current Lin Feng. His battle strength had increased many times compared to before his breakthrough. Lin Feng and the cursed doll left together, and found a secluded place. Lin Feng went into seclusion to recuperate. After about 5 days, Lin Feng's body had fully recovered. After recovering, Lin Feng's face was full of joy. The feeling of breaking through to the Earth Immortal Realm was too good. Of course, Lin Feng didn't feel proud because he had broken through to the Earth Immortal Realm. So what if he was in the Earth Immortal Realm? He still had a long way to go. Lin Feng felt that perhaps he would only be able to relax after breaking through to the true Immortal Realm. Lin Feng believed that once he broke through to the true Immortal Realm, killing Di Wudao wouldn't be much of a problem. Lin Feng was still confident about this. As for now, he would try his best to avoid conflict with Di Wudao. It wouldn't be too late to kill him after he broke through. Di Wudao still had the 9 stone swords. Lin Feng had always wanted to kill Di Wudao and snatch his 9 stone swords. Perhaps that day would come very soon. After coming out of seclusion, Lin Feng left with the cursed doll. On the way, Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and asked, "What do you plan to do next?" The cursed doll replied, "I've already dealt with some matters, so I don't know what to do now." "What do you plan to do?" Lin Feng replied, "There are many things I need to do. I need to find the crescent moon grass, the emperor brush, the stone sutra, and so on." "Crescent moon grass? You want to find crescent moon grass?" "I know where to find crescent moon grass," the cursed doll replied. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The cursed doll actually knew where to find crescent moon grass. This made Lin Feng extremely happy. Lin Feng was in a hurry to find crescent moon grass to cure Ling Zixi poison. Now that he had the dustless technique and the snow dragon grass, he only needed crescent moon grass. As long as he could find crescent moon grass, Ling Zixi would be able to wake up. Lin Feng hurriedly asked, "Where can I find crescent moon grass?" "There's a place in the outer seas called the Immortal Moon Valley. The Immortal Moon Valley has crescent moon grass there, but it's extremely dangerous. It's a famous place in the outer seas, so very few people dare to enter," the cursed doll explained. "It's fine. Let's go take a look." "May I know which sea region you're talking about?" Lin Feng asked. "The Western Sea," the cursed doll replied. Lin Feng said, "Then we're not too far from the Western Sea." Lin Feng and the cursed doll headed to the Western Sea together. Lin Feng still remembered that he had agreed to go to the place where Ancestor Samsara had fallen with Taoist Qin Shan and the other 3 experts. The 4 experts had already gone out to sea to search for the place where Ancestor Samsara had fallen. They would inform him once they found the place. However, he had yet to receive any news from them. The 4 experts had also gone to the Western Sea. He didn't know if he would be able to meet the 4 experts there. It would be even better if he could meet them. Then, he could enter the place where Ancestor Samsara had fallen. It was said that there was an entrance to the reincarnation passage there. Lin Feng was very worried about Feng Yaoguang's safety. Therefore, he wanted to enter the reincarnation passage to find Feng Yaoguang. However, entering the reincarnation passage was easier said than done. Entering the place where Ancestor Samsara had fallen? There was one way. According to the four experts, the news that there was an entrance to the reincarnation passage was much more reliable than the news that there was an entrance to the heaven-devouring secret realm. 3 months later, the ancient ship, Xianyuan, jumped through space-time and arrived at the overseas world. In order to save time, Lin Feng had been burning immortal stones to supply the ancient ship with a steady stream of immortal stones. This way, the ancient ship could continue to jump through space-time without stopping. The amount of immortal stones consumed each day was more than 1 million. The number of immortal stones consumed in 3 months was about 100 million. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to bear such an expenditure, but for Lin Feng, this amount of immortal stones was nothing. In the overseas world, blue waves rippled as far as the eye could see. The ancient ship, Xianyuan, was flying at high speed. Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and asked, "You came to the overseas world before this?" "Yes." The cursed doll nodded. "What's the matter?" Lin Feng asked. The cursed doll replied, "I'm not telling you." Lin Feng pursed his lips and said, "Is there a need to be so secretive?" At that moment, a violent fluctuation came from ahead. After sensing it, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. The fluctuation was too powerful. Lin Feng felt that it was definitely caused by a battle between two peerless experts. Otherwise, the fluctuation wouldn't be so terrifying. Chapter 5163. Lin Feng was naturally very curious. Therefore, he issued an order to the humanoid puppet controlling the ancient starship Xianyuan. The humanoid puppet sped up. It rushed forward quickly. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the periphery of the battle. A sun appeared in the void. The sun was extremely hot. At this moment, 5 cultivators were besieging the sun. One of the cultivators was a middle-aged man with wings on his back. The middle-aged man was surrounded by terrifying lightning power. The middle-aged man was a cultivator of the Thunder God clan. Among the 9 generations of Thunder Gods, the first Thunder God seemed to be a cultivator with wings on his back. Therefore, the other party should be a descendant of the first Thunder God. The second cultivator was a cultivator of the Dragon clan. He looked quite young, but in fact, he had been cultivating for a very long time. He just looked young. He had transformed into a human form, but there were dragon horns on his head. He looked very handsome and his combat strength was unusually tyrannical. The third cultivator was a demon Dao expert. In the Undying Realm, although Lin Feng didn't see many demon experts, Lin Feng did come into contact with some demon experts. Lin Feng didn't know the demon expert in front of him. He was about 2 meters tall and burly, and wore a loose demon robe. The aura on his body was terrifying. This person was definitely a powerful existence. The fourth cultivator was a demon expert. He wore a gray robe and a bamboo hat. That bamboo hat was not an ordinary bamboo hat. Ordinary bamboo hats couldn't resist the detection of a cultivator's divine sense, so there was basically no difference between wearing it and not wearing it. However, the bamboo hat worn by this cultivator was obviously different. The bamboo hat worn by this cultivator could block the detection of other cultivators. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't know what this person looked like. As for the fifth cultivator, she was a female cultivator with her face covered. Her figure was really hot and sexy. Since he couldn't see her face, he didn't know whether she was a beauty or not. However, judging from her hot figure, she should be a top-notch beauty. As for the sun, that was being besieged, naturally it wasn't the real sun. What was it exactly? Lin Feng didn't know either, but that thing really did look like a miniature sun. The cultivation of the 5 experts was very strong. They displayed extremely terrifying combat strength. However, when their attacks hit the sun, they seemed to be swallowed and absorbed by the sun. That sun. It was truly extraordinary. "What do you think is inside that sun?" Lin Feng asked the cursed doll. The cursed doll shook its head and said, "It's hard to say. The light has blocked the probing of my divine sense, so I don't know what's inside." Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his chin. Although he didn't know what was inside the sun, Lin Feng could feel that it was extraordinary. That thing, Could it be a powerful magic treasure? At this time, the sun began its counterattack. The sun shone with a dazzling light. Each beam of light could pierce through the void. It was so powerful. It was truly frightening. Beams of light shone on the 5 experts who were besieging the sun. The 5 experts tried to resist. Unexpectedly, he was also forced into a fluster by the beams of light. What a powerful attack! That sun is really extraordinary. Lin Feng was shocked. However, the cultivation of the 5 experts was also very strong. Therefore, although they were in a sorry state, they weren't injured. Although the sun's attack was very powerful, it obviously couldn't last for long. Since it couldn't last for long, then they had to end the battle quickly. However, the sun obviously couldn't end the battle in a short time. It wouldn't be easy to injure the 5 experts, so the sun didn't intend to continue fighting. After the sun broke through the encirclement, it quickly rushed outside. Chase! One of the experts said coldly and took the lead to chase after the sun. Then, the other 4 experts quickly chased after the sun. As for the ancient starship Xianyuan, it was directly ignored by the 5 experts. As long as it didn't hinder them. They couldn't care less about the origins of the ancient starship Xianyuan. The sun and the 5 experts left one after the other. The cursed doll said, "Why don't we chase after them and take a look?" Lin Feng said, "Forget it. Those 5 experts are very strong, and their origins are probably extraordinary. We still have things to deal with, so there's no need to get into a dispute with them." The cursed doll thought about it and agreed. Therefore, it didn't mention this matter again. "How much longer do we need to reach the immortal moon stream you mentioned?" Lin Feng asked. The immortal moon stream is in the central region of the West Sea, and we're currently in the outer region of the West Sea. If we're fast, we'll need a month. If we're slow, we'll need even longer. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. For the rest of the journey, the ancient starship Xianyuan continued to travel at full speed. After a month, they were very close to the immortal moon stream. The ancient starship Xianyuan stopped on an island that was only 300 kilometers away from the immortal moon stream. Lin Feng had originally planned to go directly to the immortal moon stream, but the cursed doll wanted to rest on the island for a day. They had spent 4 months traveling without stopping, so it was indeed very tiring. Lin Feng agreed. This island was called the Immortal Moon Island. The Immortal Moon Island was very large, and it was the closest gathering place for cultivators to the Immortal Moon Stream. Although the Immortal Moon Stream was a dangerous place, there were many precious resources in the surrounding 300 kilometers. Therefore, this place attracted a large number of cultivators. Many cultivators took the risk to dive into the sea to find all kinds of precious treasures and sell them. On the Immortal Moon Island, there were many shops that bought all kinds of rare treasures. In addition to the shops, there were also many large merchant guilds. The large merchant guilds had a lot of materials and were also collecting all kinds of rare treasures. Many large merchant guilds bought things here and then transported them to inland areas. Price: usually they could earn several times the price. They made a lot of money. After Lin Feng and the cursed doll landed on the Immortal Moon Island, they went to find a place to rest. "Lin Feng, the overseas world is where you'll be buried." Lin Feng didn't notice that a cold gaze was secretly staring at him. The existence uttered an eerie and venomous voice. Chapter 5164. Lin Feng naturally didn't notice that someone was secretly watching him. As Lin Feng walked down the main street, he could feel all sorts of worldly auras assaulting his senses. The sounds of hawking could be heard everywhere, and it didn't seem like the world of cultivators at all. Instead, it seemed like the world of mortals. The world of cultivators was usually quieter, and there wasn't much noise like this. Only the world of mortals would be like this. It was like a huge market. "There are many rare treasures here. If there's anything you like, you can sell it," the cursed doll said. Lin Feng said, "I've taken a look, and there are indeed many strange things here. However, I'm not interested in those things. Once we find a place to stay, I'll take you to the precious treasure pavilion." Perhaps you'll find something you like there, the cursed doll said. You might find something there, the cursed doll said. Precious Treasure Pavilion? What's that place? Lin Feng asked in surprise. The cursed doll said, It's a chamber of commerce set up by the West Sea Dragon Palace. There are many precious treasures there. The West Sea Dragon Palace controls the West Sea world, and many treasures that cultivators can't mine can be mined by the people of the West Sea Dragon Palace. That's why there are many things in the Precious Treasure Pavilion that can't be found outside, Lin Feng said. Do you remember that dragon expert we saw before? I wonder if he's from the West Sea Dragon Palace? The cursed doll naturally remembered that dragon expert. Previously, when the 5 great experts had attacked the sun, one of them had been a dragon expert. The cursed doll said, That's indeed possible. After all, most of the dragon cultivators who are active in the West Sea world are dragon cultivators from the West Sea Dragon Palace. Of course, there are also dragon cultivators from outside. Lin Feng nodded and asked, What kind of power is the West Sea Dragon Palace? The cursed doll said, We're currently in the central region of the West Sea world, and the dragon clan controls a large portion of the inner region. The central region and outer regions are also controlled by the dragon clan. Even though there are many factions in the West Sea world, the dragon clan is definitely the most powerful faction. It's a faction that no one dares to offend. The Dragon King of the West Sea was an expert from ancient times, and it's said that the Dragon King of the West Sea has many different battle forms. Each battle form has a terrifying power, so the Dragon King of the West Sea is a terrifying existence. Different battle states? Lin Feng was flabbergasted. He did not know what the cursed doll meant. What were the different battle states? Lin Feng, on the other hand, was very curious about this. Although the Immortal Moon Island was huge, there were too many cultivators going in and out of the Immortal Moon Island. There were more cultivators in the West Sea world to begin with, and the Immortal Moon Stream was rich in resources, attracting a large number of cultivators. Naturally, everyone would rest on the Immortal Moon Island. Thus, the inns on the Immortal Moon Island were almost full. Even after searching through many inns, they were still unable to find an empty room. In the end, however, they managed to find a place to stay. This time, it was not an individual courtyard, as the individual courtyard was already full. This time, the inn was a guest room, and there was only one room. Lin Feng, on the other hand, did not mind. He was a person who could enjoy glory, splendor, and wealth. He was also someone who could live a happy life. Not to mention, the current environment was quite good. It was not something that could be compared to spending the night in the forest. After resting for a while, at night, the cursed doll called Lin Feng to the Precious Treasure Pavilion. Do you know about the clam girl? The cursed doll asked Lin Feng with a smile. I've heard of her. Lin Feng nodded. Hee, the maidservants in the Precious Treasure Pavilion are all clam girls. Those clam girls have hot bodies and gentle personalities. They are the most suitable candidates to be wives. Maybe you can buy a clam girl to be your personal maidservant. She will serve you wholeheartedly, the cursed doll said. Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. What kind of person did the cursed doll think he was? The Precious Treasure Pavilion was located in the busiest city center. There were many large chambers of commerce there. People came and went, and it was very lively. However, the Precious Treasure Pavilion was like a crane in a flock of chickens. The other chambers of commerce only had 7 floors at most, but the Precious Treasure Pavilion had 16 floors. At that moment, a large number of cultivators came and went. The first floor of the Precious Treasure Pavilion is the Exhibition Hall and the Consultation Hall. The 2nd to 4th floors of the Precious Treasure Pavilion are ordinary treasures. The 5th to 7th floors are precious treasures. The 8th to 10th floors are rare treasures. The 11th to 13th floors are treasures from the bottom of the sea. The things on the 14th floor are even more precious. Ordinary people can't go to the 14th floor. The 15th floor is where the trade fairs and auctions are held. There's a special passage that leads to the 15th floor. You can't go up by stairs. The 16th floor is where the higher-ups of the Precious Treasure Pavilion rest. After hearing the cursed doll's explanation, Lin Feng had a better understanding of the precious treasure pavilion. He could not help but nod. Lin Feng was also very interested in the precious treasure pavilion. He wondered if he could find some good things in the precious treasure pavilion. After a short while, Lin Feng and the cursed doll arrived at the precious treasure pavilion. A clam girl walked towards the two of them with light steps. This clam girl had a tall and voluptuous figure. She was wearing a long white dress. Her face looked gentle and beautiful. Her pair of big watery eyes looked very beautiful and pitiful. She had a pair of huge clam shells on her back. The clam girl came to Lin Feng and the cursed doll's side and bowed to them. She then stood up and asked, "Young masters, are you here to sell something? Or are you here to buy something?" Cultivators were usually very busy. Therefore, they usually went to the big chamber of commerce with a purpose. There were also people like this who had nothing better to do, but there were not many of them. Therefore, cultivators were very straightforward when they spoke. The cursed doll said, "Of course we're here to buy something. This young master beside me is lacking in everything except immortal stones. He has no problem emptying your precious treasure pavilion." The cursed doll had just arrived and was already bragging. "You're bragging, aren't you? Brother, you should control your bragging. Don't brag too much. When it comes to bragging, I admire you." Some of the cultivators around them heard the cursed doll's words and started talking. They naturally did not think that the cursed doll was telling the truth. They all thought that the cursed doll was bragging. The clam girl who received Lin Feng and the cursed doll was all smiles. She did not show any disdain for the cursed doll. Her attitude was very professional. Chapter 5165. Go away, what does this have to do with you? You're all poor, so you're very different from us. The cursed doll curled its lips. Damn it, we're indeed different from you. We're not as good at bragging as you are, someone said sarcastically. The cursed doll rolled its eyes. Then, it couldn't be bothered with them anymore. Lin Feng didn't have the mood to deal with those cultivators either. He looked at the clam girl who had received them and said, "Bring us around. Young masters, please follow this servant," the clam girl said respectfully. The clam girl said respectfully before leading the way. Lin Feng and the cursed doll followed. The clam girl followed behind. The cursed doll was born with a gossipy heart. It smiled and asked, "What's your name?" The clam girl said, "We're not famous here, so this number is my name." The clam girl pointed at a name tag on her waist, which had the word 8 written on it. This meant that the clam girl was 8. The cursed doll immediately said, "Damn it, the precious treasure pavilion is so inhumane. They don't even let you call them by their names. This kind of behavior is really intolerable. If I see the pavilion master of the precious treasure pavilion, I'll definitely report this to him." The clam girl said, "The pavilion master wants us to work hard wholeheartedly. That's why we're doing this." Lin Feng asked, "Are you training in the precious treasure pavilion?" The clam girl nodded and said, "Yes, we'll be training in the precious treasure pavilion for 100 years. When the training is over, we'll receive different rewards according to our performance." "Okay." Lin Feng nodded. This was similar to what he had imagined. The cursed doll said, "Training is good. If you're training, you'll be free. You're so good looking, do you have a man?" After hearing the cursed doll's words, Lin Feng was speechless. This guy, how vulgar. How could he ask someone like that? She was a girl, sure enough. The clam girl blushed slightly, but she still shook her head and said, "I'm focused on training, so I've never thought about that." The cursed doll said, "That's not right. You have to be prepared for the future." "That's good. Let me introduce you to this young master beside me. He has a good character, is handsome, and has a lot of money at a young age. His character is excellent, and his future is limitless. Now, he can't even be called a potential stock anymore. He's now an overlord. Why don't you go with him? Tonight, when the rice is cooked, you'll be rich." The clam girl stole a glance at Lin Feng when she heard what the cursed doll said. The young master in front of him was indeed very handsome. However, did this young master have a great background? The clam girl's face turned even redder. Lin Feng glared at the cursed doll and said, "If you dare to spout nonsense here again, I will tear your mouth apart." "Hee hee, I was just joking to liven things up." The cursed doll grinned. However, he did not continue on this topic. With the clam girl leading the way, Lin Feng and the cursed doll headed up. When they reached the second floor, Lin Feng looked around but did not see any treasures. He and the cursed doll did not stop and continued to head up. On the fifth floor, Lin Feng saw a special crystal. It was a kind of azure crystal, which looked very beautiful. The clam girl introduced, "Young master, this is the deep sea Xian crystal. This kind of deep sea Xian crystal is quite special. It can store magic power and even some divine abilities." "Oh? It has such a miraculous effect?" Lin Feng couldn't help but be surprised. If it was really as the clam girl said, then the deep sea Xian crystal was really a good thing. "Yes." The clam girl nodded and said, "Deep sea Xian crystals are very difficult to mine, so they are quite expensive. One deep sea Xian crystal costs 100,000 immortal stones. It's not expensive, only 100,000. We can afford it even if it's 1,000,000. The cursed doll seemed to be very rich. Lin Feng was indeed interested in the deep sea Xian crystal. Because Lin Feng had many women, Lin Feng was not by their side most of the time, so he was naturally worried about their safety. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to make some deep sea Xian crystals. He wanted to use them to seal some powerful spells and spells inside them. Then, he would give them to his women. If they were in danger, they could activate the deep sea Xian crystals and release the sealed divine abilities. In this way, it would be equivalent to a full-force attack. Even if it could not kill the opponent, it should be able to buy time for them to escape. Lin Feng asked, "How many of these deep sea Xian crystals do you have?" The clam girl said, "Not many. Including the deep sea Xian crystals in the storage, we have about 100. That's quite a small number." Lin Feng could not help but sigh. One deep sea Xian crystal could probably only seal one divine ability, so Lin Feng naturally wanted to get more deep sea Xian crystals. He would only be able to rest assured if he gave 8 or 10 deep sea Xian crystals to a woman. Unfortunately, the other party did not have many deep sea Xian crystals. "Take out all the deep sea Xian crystals in the storage. I want them all," Lin Feng said. Hearing this, the clam girl was delighted. Including the 100 or so deep sea Xian crystals in the storage, one deep sea Xian crystal cost 300,000 immortal stones, so 100 deep sea Xian crystals would be 30 million immortal stones. Normally, the clam girl would not necessarily have 30 million immortal stones in sales in a month. But today, a customer had brought her a 30 million immortal stones order. The clam girl was naturally happy. This was extremely important for her performance evaluation. "Young master, please wait for a moment. I will go to the storage and get these deep sea Xian crystals," the clam girl said. "All right, go ahead," Lin Feng said. After the clam girl left, Lin Feng and the cursed doll waited there. Not long after, the clam girl returned. She was accompanied by an old man. This old man was also a cultivator from the Dragon Palace. He was transformed from a deep-sea dragon turtle. In the storage room. When taking things from the storage room, if the amount was not too large, the dragon turtle elder would not come out personally. Instead, he would send a deacon out to check. However, the transaction today had reached 30 million immortal stones. This was already a huge fortune. Therefore, the dragon turtle elder came out personally. "Young masters. This is the dragon turtle elder in charge of the precious treasure pavilion storage room." The clam girl introduced the dragon turtle elder to Lin Feng and the cursed doll. The dragon turtle elder had a smile on his face the whole time. He cupped his fists and said with a smile, "Young masters, the items are here. There are a total of 103 deep sea Xian crystals. Young master, you only need to pay 30 million immortal stones." The dragon turtle elder was a smart person. He took the initiative to give Lin Feng a discount of 900,000 immortal stones. Although Lin Feng did not lack the 900,000 immortal stones since the Dragon Turtle Elder was being nice, Lin Feng naturally could not refuse the Dragon Turtle Patriarch's kindness. Therefore, he accepted it with a clear conscience. Lin Feng waved his hand and a ball of magic power surged out. A river of immortal stones was sealed by Lin Feng. That river of immortal stones was exactly 30 million immortal stones. Chapter 5166. There are a total of 30 million immortal stones here. Elder Dragon Turtle, please take a look. Lin Feng flicked his finger. The ball of light containing 30 million immortal stones flew towards Elder Dragon Turtle. Elder Dragon Turtle checked and found that there were indeed 30 million immortal stones. A smile appeared on his face. He put away the 30 million immortal stones and said, "How about I accompany you for a walk?" The cursed doll curled its lips and thought, with a beauty accompanying us, who wants an old man like you to accompany us? Of course, it did not say this out loud. Otherwise, it would really offend Elder Dragon Turtle. The cursed doll was not stupid. It knew that it was better to keep a low profile in someone else's territory. If it offended its master, wouldn't it be asking for trouble? Lin Feng said. Of course. Then I'll have to trouble Elder Dragon Turtle. You're welcome, young master, Elder Dragon Turtle said with a smile. He did not ask about Lin Feng's identity because some people hated being asked about their identity. Elder Dragon Turtle was very clear about this. Therefore, in the blink of an eye, Elder Dragon Turtle would not ask about the identity of the customer. It could make the customer happy. This way, he could sell more things. If the overall performance was good, Elder Dragon Turtle would get a lot of commission. His commission was much higher than the clam girls or the deacons. Cultivators were more focused on profits. The reason for this was that there was no other way. In the world of cultivators, not everyone was like Lin Feng, who treated money like dirt. It was mainly because Lin Feng was too rich, so he was not particularly obsessed with cultivation resources and immortal stones. As for the other cultivators, usually, when they cultivated and broke through, they would need to consume a lot of immortal stones. Therefore, they were very obsessed with immortal stones. Immortal stones were hard to earn. Elder Dragon Turtle and the clam girls brought Lin Feng and the cursed doll to walk around. Who are those two guys? Even Elder Dragon Turtle personally came out to accompany them. How can they be so important? A cultivator whispered. I don't know them. They're probably young masters from some big family, someone said. Many cultivators were discussing this matter. Elder Dragon Turtle rarely accompanied people to walk around the treasure pavilion. Therefore, when he saw the Dragon Turtle accompanying Lin Feng and the cursed doll to the treasure pavilion, they guessed that Lin Feng and the cursed doll's identities were not ordinary. The cursed doll said, Does your precious treasure pavilion have any special or rare treasures? The rarer and more precious the item, the better. We lack everything, but we don't lack immortal stones. The Dragon Turtle ancestor smiled. Then let's go directly to the 14th floor. The things there are all precious treasures. All right, let's go to the 14th floor to take a look, Lin Feng said. The clam girl led the way. Everyone came to the elevator and took it to the 14th floor. Very soon, the four of them arrived at the 14th floor. The 14th floor was very large, but it seemed very empty. Every treasure was sealed in a crystal container. As for the crystal vessel, it was protected by a powerful restriction. This was to prevent the treasure from being stolen. He was a thief. There were a lot of them. There weren't many customers on the 14th floor either. The customers who could come here were obviously people of extraordinary status. The Dragon Turtle Elder smiled and said, Young masters, the treasures here are all treasures among treasures. The prices are extraordinary. Yes. Lin Feng nodded. Then, he walked inside. Lin Feng looked at the nearest treasure and realized that it was a blood coral. The Dragon Turtle Elder said, This blood coral is different from ordinary blood corals. Firstly, this blood coral has been growing for 73 million years, which is extremely rare. Secondly, this blood coral has been absorbing the cold energy of the deep sea for a long time. This cold energy can change a woman's body and make her more beautiful. Furthermore, the blood coral can greatly replenish one's qi and blood, so it's suitable for refining pills for women. It's very beneficial to their bodies. The cursed doll said. This thing can be used to refine the face-preserving pill and the beauty pill. The effect should be good, right? Of course. The dragon turtle elder nodded. Actually, the so-called face-preserving pill was not really able to preserve one's youth forever. It could only slow down one's aging. How could there be a pill that could preserve one's youth forever in this world? The aging of the human body was a natural phenomenon. It was irreversible. However, the effects of the face-preserving pill were different depending on the materials used. It was mainly reflected in the time it took to slow down one's aging. Some face-preserving pills might only have an effect of 1,000 years. Some face-preserving pills could have an effect of 10,000 years. Some face-preserving pills could have an effect of 1,000,000 years. The difference between the two was obvious. In addition, top-grade face-preserving pills had a nourishing effect on a woman's body. This was a positive change. The higher the grade of the face-preserving pill, the greater the effect it had on a woman's body. Low-grade face-preserving pills not only had no benefits for the body, but they would also cause damage to the body. In order to preserve one's youthful appearance for a period of time. However, using this kind of pill would harm the body. Naturally, the gains did not make up for the losses. However, many female cultivators could not afford high-grade face-preserving pills for the sake of beauty. They would not hesitate to harm their bodies to buy low-grade face-preserving pills. Everyone has a love for beauty. Especially for women. Having a hot and charming body and a beautiful face was definitely very important. Lin Feng felt that he could buy this blood coral, and then refine some face-preserving pills and beauty pills for his women. When the time came, they would definitely be extremely happy, right? Lin Feng felt that perhaps this would make them happier than giving them some precious Dharma treasures. I want this blood coral, Lin Feng said. Many customers and salespeople could not help but click their tongues when they heard Lin Feng say that he wanted to buy the blood coral without even asking for the price. The things here were all extremely expensive. Many of the things here were extremely expensive. Lin Feng didn't even ask, he wanted to buy it. How rich and overbearing. Young master, this blood coral is worth 18 million immortal stones, Elder Dragon Turtle said. All right. Lin Feng nodded and then took out 18 million immortal stones and handed it to Elder Dragon Turtle. Elder Dragon Turtle revealed a look of joy. It seemed that he had met an unprecedentedly big customer today. Perhaps he could sell even more things to this young master. Thinking of this, Elder Dragon Turtle could not help but be overjoyed. He did not dare hesitate, and quickly took out the blood coral and handed it to Lin Feng. Chapter 5167. Lin Feng kept the blood coral and continued to stroll around. There were many dazzling treasures here, but there weren't many treasures that could pique Lin Feng's interest. Of course, it wasn't that there weren't any. For example, Lin Feng saw an item that piqued his interest. There was a glassware in front of him, and there was a porcelain bottle in the middle of the glassware. He could vaguely see that there was some liquid in the porcelain bottle. The reason why he could see it was because the liquid was special. It made the porcelain bottle transparent. What's inside the bottle? Lin Feng asked curiously. The Dragon Turtle Elder said, It's spirit deity liquid, an extremely rare spirit deity liquid. This spirit deity liquid can greatly shorten the lifespan of many vegetable-type treasures. A single drop of this spirit deity liquid can make those vegetable-type treasures grow for 10 years. Oh? It's that magical? Lin Feng said in surprise. Lin Feng had obtained a sky-purple lightning bamboo sapling before. It was a type of plant with the purest yang energy in the world. Lin Feng planned to use it to forge his third natal treasure. However, the sky-purple lightning bamboo's growth period was very long. Although it could be shortened by 10 times in time, Lin Feng didn't know when the sky purple lightning bamboo would mature. However, if he used the spirit deity liquid to nurture the grand sky purple lightning bamboo's sapling, it would greatly shorten its growth time. In this way, he would be able to successfully nurture the grand sky purple lightning bamboo's sapling in an extremely short period of time. After that, he would be able to forge his third life-bound magic weapon. Lin Feng had two natal treasures. The first was the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp, which protected Lin Feng's soul. It had saved Lin Feng's life from danger several times. The second treasure was the Primal Chaos Immortal Stone. It was quite powerful and was a supreme treasure for both offense and defense. However, Lin Feng still lacked a purest yang energy treasure. This type of treasure could nourish and warm the body. If a cultivator were to carry this type of natal magic treasure with them, it would bring great benefits to their body. Of course, this was not the most important aspect. The most important aspect was that a magic treasure with the highest yang attribute could ward off evil spirits. It had a relatively high lethality towards yin and evil spirits. Although Lin Feng had some treasures that could restrain yin and evil spirits, such as the monastic robe, ancient Buddhist bones, and other treasures, these treasures weren't purest yang energy treasures. The best thing to restrain yin and evil spirits was the purest yang energy treasures. Therefore, Lin Feng hoped that he could quickly cultivate the sky purple lightning bamboo sapling. "I want this bottle of spiritual deity liquid," Lin Feng said. The dragon turtle elder took out the item and gave it to Lin Feng. "This bottle of spiritual deity liquid is worth 8 million immortal stones." Lin Feng nodded and took out 8 million immortal stones and gave it to the dragon turtle elder. Lin Feng continued looking at other treasures. Not long after, Lin Feng saw another treasure. It was a precious pearl. There seemed to be liquid flowing inside the pearl. Lin Feng could feel the power of water from the pearl. The pearl was similar to the water avoidance pearl, but Lin Feng could clearly feel that the pearl was many times more precious than the water avoidance pearl. "What's this pearl?" Lin Feng asked. "This is the frozen water pearl. It's a supreme treasure of the deep sea. It's extremely rare. The frozen water pearl can freeze all kinds of waves, tsunamis, and storms in the deep sea. It can even freeze water-attributed attacks," the dragon turtle elder said. "Oh? It's that powerful?" Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. Lin Feng had the hurricane pearl. With the hurricane pearl, he could ignore all kinds of storms. No matter how strong the storm was, it wouldn't be able to hurt Lin Feng. However, the price of the frozen water pearl was even more shocking. It could freeze all kinds of tsunamis, waves, storms, and even water-attributed attacks. This kind of ability was too abnormal. Lin Feng felt that it was inconceivable. However, this was the powerful effect of the frozen water pearl. Although it sounded inconceivable, the frozen water pearl was that powerful. Lin Feng said, "I want the frozen water pearl too." The dragon turtle patriarch took out the frozen water pearl for Lin Feng and gave it to Lin Feng. Then, the dragon turtle patriarch said with a smile, "The original price of the frozen water pearl was 54 million, but I'll give you a discount. 50 million will do." Hearing this, Lin Feng took out 50 million immortal stones and gave them to the dragon turtle patriarch. When the surrounding cultivators saw Lin Feng buy one item after another, they couldn't help but look at Lin Feng enviously. He was really rich and overbearing. "Lin Feng, I've also taken a fancy to something. Can you give it to me?" the cursed doll said. Previously, the cursed doll had saved Lin Feng. Not to mention a single item. The cursed doll wanted 100 items. Lin Feng wouldn't hesitate to buy it. Lin Feng said, "Of course, no problem. Take whatever you like. I want this." The cursed doll pointed at an item. Lin Feng looked over. It was a palm-sized piece of wood. It was on top of the wood. There were also some mysterious runes on it. Lin Feng didn't know what the wood was, but since it was placed here, it was definitely not simple. The dragon turtle patriarch didn't dare to be negligent. He quickly took out the piece of wood and handed it over to the cursed doll. The cursed doll repeatedly flipped through the piece of wood. The more it looked at it, the more it liked it. Obviously. That piece of wood. It was definitely a treasure that could play an important role in the cursed doll. So, when it saw the piece of wood, the cursed doll was so happy. This item costs 3 million immortal stones, the Dragon Turtle Patriarch said. This item wasn't particularly expensive. Of course, this was relative to other items. The price was indeed not particularly high. After all, there were many items here that cost tens of millions. However, if it was taken out alone, the value of this item was quite high. 3 million immortal stones. Just like in the real world, wasn't 3 million RMB a lot of money? Lin Feng continued to shop. The Dragon Turtle Elder introduced many precious items to Lin Feng. But Lin Feng wasn't interested. Lin Feng had been searching for something that could help him. No matter how precious or rare something was, it wouldn't be of any help to him. At most, Lin Feng would only take a few glances at it, and wouldn't buy it. After all, although Lin Feng was rich, that money didn't come from nowhere. Naturally, he had to use this money where it was needed most. That's... Lin Feng looked at an item in shock. When he saw that item, Lin Feng's eyelids twitched violently. Chapter 5168. One of the things that Lin Feng had his eyes on was a part of a broken arrow. The broken arrow was not too long, only a dozen centimeters long, and the tip of the arrow was still there. After a short moment of shock, Lin Feng revealed a look of joy. Because he recognized the origin of the broken arrow. That broken arrow. It was actually the sunshot arrow. Back then, when Hou forged the Hou Bao, he forged 9 sunshot arrows at the same time. Lin Feng now had one. The Hou Bao combined with the sunshot arrow. It was simply an invincible killing weapon. Lin Feng wanted to find the other sunshot arrow. But unfortunately, there had been no clues. Now, he actually saw a broken arrow here. The sunshot arrow was so powerful. It was actually broken. Lin Feng could not help but mutter in his heart. Back then, who exactly broke this sunshot arrow? A cultivator who could break the sunshot arrow. It must be an extremely terrifying existence. However, what happened back then was destined to be buried by history. Perhaps future generations would never know the truth behind why the sunshot arrow was broken. I'll take the broken arrow, Lin Feng said. Elder Dragon Turtle took out the sunshot arrow and handed it to Lin Feng. Then, he said, "This is the broken arrow of the sunshot arrow. It was originally a priceless treasure, but now that it has been broken, its value has been greatly reduced. However, the price is still not cheap, as high as 60 million. Yes. Lin Feng nodded and took out 60 million immortal stones. He carefully observed the sunshot arrow in his hand. He immediately discovered. Although the sun-slaying divine arrow was broken, the runes on it were not destroyed. As long as the runes were not destroyed, there was still a possibility of repairing the sunshot arrow. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel happy. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that repairing the sunshot arrow would not be easy. First, he needed to find raw materials that could match the sunshot arrow. This kind of material was extremely difficult to find. Secondly, he needed to set up runes at the broken location. This kind of rune needed to be perfectly compatible with the runes on the broken arrow. Only then could the broken arrow be repaired. Only when these 2 points were perfect could the broken arrow be repaired successfully. If even one point was not perfect, the repair plan would fail. Lin Feng was very clear about this point. He needed to find a top-level refining grandmaster to complete this matter. An ordinary weapon refiner would not be able to complete it. We've bought enough things, let's go. Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll. All right, the cursed doll said. Lin Feng left with the cursed doll. Elder Dragon Turtle and the Clam Girl only returned after sending off Lin Feng and the cursed doll. After leaving the precious treasure pavilion, Lin Feng and the cursed doll did not stay outside. Lin Feng planned to go back and study the runes that matched the location of the broken arrow. Because Lin Feng still had a complete Sunshot God arrow, Lin Feng guessed that the runes on the 2 Sunshot God arrows should be the same. When the time came, he should be able to draw the runes according to the complete sun-shot god arrow. Of course, drawing runes was easy in theory, but it was very difficult to do. After all kinds of runes were unpredictable. Drawing them was naturally an extremely difficult task. However, no matter how difficult it was, Lin Feng had to draw the complete runes. When the time came, he could give the complete runes to the weapon refiner who could repair the broken arrow. He could not expect to give the broken arrow and the complete sun-shot god arrow to the weapon refiner. Let the weapon refiner study what the complete runes looked like. Even if he could really do that. Lin Feng was also worried. What if the weapon refiner ran away with his sun-shot god arrow? The cursed doll had obtained that special piece of wood previously, so he was now in a hurry to go back and study it. Of course, it was also possible that Shur had gone to refine that piece of wood. That piece of wood was obviously very useful to him. Lin Feng hoped that the cursed doll could use that special piece of wood to improve his cultivation. However, whether he could do it or not was not something Lin Feng could control. After returning to his residence, Lin Feng took out the broken arrow and the complete sun-shot god arrow. Then he began to compare the runes on them. After a comparison, Lin Feng found that the runes on them were exactly the same. This made Lin Feng very happy. The most frightening thing was that the runes on them were not the same. When the time came to repair the broken arrow, it would be too difficult. Now that he could confirm that the runes were exactly the same, it would be much easier to repair the broken arrow. Lin Feng took out a talisman pen and talisman paper. Then he studied the structure of the runes on them while drawing the runes that he had studied. Originally, Lin Feng wanted to stay here for a day, but it took him 3 days to study the runes on the sun-shot god arrow. After finishing, Lin Feng could finally heave a sigh of relief. As for the materials to repair the broken arrow, Lin Feng planned to look for them in his storage of treasures. Lin Feng had so many treasures in his storage, including all kinds of immortal iron and divine stone. Perhaps he could find a suitable material. Demon Lord, what kind of material do you think I should choose to repair the broken arrow? Asked Lin Feng telepathically. Ordinary materials obviously won't do. You should find extremely precious meteorites from outer space. The density of meteorites from outer space is usually higher, and they are more suitable for forging top-notch magic treasures than other materials of the same type. Moreover, the sun-shot god arrow itself was forged from meteorites from outer space. The demon lord thought for a moment, then said, I have collected a lot of meteorites from outer space, but I don't know if there are any that can match the broken arrow. Let me see, Lin Feng said. The so-called match here mainly looked at 2 aspects. First, was the density of the meteorite similar to the density of the material used to forge the sun-shot god arrow? Second, could the meteorite form a fit with the broken arrow? This was a very important point. Different materials were divided into 3 attributes: fit, reject, and not affect each other. Even if they couldn't form a fit. But they couldn't form rejection. If they rejected each other and tried to repair the broken arrow, the arrow might even be damaged. Lin Feng searched carefully and found about 30 top-notch meteorites. Lin Feng asked, Demon Lord, do you think any of these meteorites are suitable? The Demon Lord looked at them and compared them, then said, I think that purple meteorite is suitable. Lin Feng nodded. He felt that the purple meteorite was the most suitable for the broken arrow. He asked the Demon Lord mainly to confirm and see if the Demon Lord had the same thoughts as him. After asking, Lin Feng was able to confirm that the Demon Lord had the same thoughts as him. Next, he just needed to find a top-notch blacksmith to try to repair the broken arrow. Chapter 5169. Lin Feng didn't feel at ease finding a blacksmith outside, so he decided to find someone to repair the sun-shot sun god arrow when he returned to Sin Realm. There were many blacksmiths in Sin City, and they were all talents that Lin Feng had recruited. These people were trustworthy. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, the cursed doll didn't. It was still cultivating. After waiting for 2 days, the cursed doll finally came out. After coming out of seclusion, the cursed doll couldn't hide its excitement and happiness. It seemed that this fellow had gained quite a lot. However, the cursed doll was a special life form. Therefore, Lin Feng wasn't very sure what the cursed doll's cultivation level was. Lin Feng and the cursed doll didn't stay there any longer. After paying the rent, they left the island and flew toward the immortal moon stream. They were about 150 kilometers away from the immortal moon stream, so Lin Feng and the cursed doll could reach the immortal moon stream in about half an hour. On the way, Lin Feng saw many ships. They were all docked at sea. The cursed doll said, "Because the bottom of the sea is more dangerous, the cultivators who go out to sea gather together. That way, they'll be safer. They'll use the ship above as the center and circle around it to search for resources in the underwater world. If they encounter any danger in the underwater world, they'll immediately think of a way to send a message back. Once the people on the ship receive the message, they'll immediately go down to rescue them," Lin Feng said. "It seems that this place has formed a relatively complete industrial chain." The cursed doll nodded and said, "That's indeed the case. That's why this place produces many good things every year. Actually, I heard that this place produces a special kind of thing." "What is it?" Lin Feng asked curiously. "Underwater god stones," the cursed doll said. "Underwater god stones? Are they similar to the stones outside?" asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. The cursed doll nodded and said, "It's very similar, but there are some differences. Because life originated from the sea, the history of the seabed god stones is much older than the stones on the land. Some things from the last era can even be mined from the seabed god stones. Therefore, the seabed god stones can often be mined from the seabed god stones. However, the seabed god stones are very rare. For those cultivators, a seabed god stone is a great opportunity." "Yes." Lin Feng couldn't help but nod. Those cultivators risked entering the seabed to search for treasures for the sake of immortal stones. Therefore, finding a piece of seabed divine stone was indeed a very important matter for them. If they sold the seabed divine stone, the immortal stones they exchanged for could very likely satisfy their needs for many years. Lin Feng and the cursed doll chatted as they flew towards the immortal moon stream. When they arrived near the immortal moon stream, the number of cultivators there had decreased. This was because the closer they got to the immortal moon stream, the more dangerous it was. Many cultivators didn't dare to take the risk to enter this area. In fact, a large number of cultivators died in this area every year. This was something that they had to be cautious about. The cultivators who were active in this area all year round naturally knew this very well. Therefore, they basically wouldn't take the risk. They preferred a safe way to deal with the search for treasures at the bottom of the sea. It didn't take long for Lin Feng and the cursed doll to arrive at the immortal moon stream. The immortal moon stream was a huge mountain range on the sea. However, this mountain range was special. Many places had been submerged by the sea. Only a small part of the mountain range was above the sea. In fact, this place was originally an island with a mountain range on it. However, for some unknown reason, the island sank to the bottom of the sea. Ever since the island sank to the bottom of the sea and formed the immortal moon stream, some special changes occurred. The immortal moon stream had undergone some special changes. This place had formed many powerful restrictive spells, and those restrictive spells were quite dangerous. As time passed, the power of the restrictive spells became more and more powerful. In addition, the rules of heaven and earth had even changed the topography of the seabed around the immortal moon stream. With the immortal moon stream as the center, everything within the 300 nautical miles around it had undergone subtle changes. Later, many people discovered that the immortal moon stream had become an extremely dangerous place, and it was not easy to set foot in it. Many precious seabed resources had appeared in the seabed around the immortal moon stream. Lin Feng understood the formation of the immortal moon stream and the uniqueness of the sea around it from the cursed doll. He couldn't help but touch his chin. Even with his years of experience, he couldn't help but feel extremely surprised because this place was really extraordinary. It made people exclaim in admiration and wonder. Lin Feng and the cursed doll floated above the sea outside the immortal moon stream and looked at it. There were many cultivators watching the immortal moon stream. Some of them were eager to enter the immortal moon stream to find their fortune. In fact, every year, there would be some courageous cultivators who would enter the immortal moon crevice in search of opportunities. Most of them would die in the immortal moon crevice. However, there were some who would successfully find some opportunities in the immortal moon crevice and escape unscathed. I've seen the introduction of the immortal moon stream in a Taoist scripture. It is said that the reason why this place changed so much was because many experts died here. After those experts died and were buried here, their magnetic fields were too powerful. They affected and fused with each other, causing the laws of heaven and earth around the immortal moon stream to change. In the end, the island sank to the bottom of the sea. In fact, in recent years, some cultivators did find the burial grounds of experts in the immortal moon stream and successfully brought out some top-level inheritances. At this time, a cultivator not far from Lin Feng said to his companion, "More than 10 years ago, the immortal moon stream had a violent change. At that time, the demonic energy in the immortal moon stream was surging and the pressure it emitted was extremely terrifying. I don't know what happened, but I heard that all the cultivators who went to check it out died. No one came out alive." At this time, another cultivator said, "That's indeed the case. The celestial moon stream has appeared for a very long time, and it has always been relatively peaceful. But 10 years ago, there was an unforeseen event which created a huge commotion. However, the specific reason for that is still an unsolved mystery." The third cultivator also talked about this matter. Chapter 5170. The conversation of a few cultivators attracted Lin Feng's attention. He came to the Undying Realm more than 10 years ago, and there was a huge change in the immortal moon crevice more than 10 years ago. Was there any connection between the two? Soon, Lin Feng could not help but smile bitterly. Perhaps he was too sensitive? There was no difference between him coming to the Undying Realm and an ordinary cultivator coming to the Undying Realm. How could it be related to the change in the immortal moon crevice? It was just a coincidence. Where is the crescent moon grass in the immortal moon crevice? Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and asked. Although most of the immortal moon crevice had been submerged by the sea, there were still some exposed areas. In fact, there were still many. In addition, the interior of the immortal moon crevice was very dangerous, so it was naturally very difficult to explore the immortal moon crevice. If he knew where the crescent moon grass was, when the time came, enter the immortal moon crevice. Go straight to the destination. He would be able to get the crescent moon grass as quickly as possible. "We will only know at night," the cursed doll said. "Wait until night? Why do we have to wait until night to know?" Lin Feng asked in confusion. The cursed doll said, "Because, to determine the location of the crescent moon grass, we need to rely on the moonlight. When the moonlight shines down at midnight, the place where the moonlight shines is where the crescent moon grass grows, so we need to wait." "All right. Then let's wait," Lin Feng said. He summoned the Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship. Then, he and the cursed doll boarded the Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship to rest. He did not know if he would encounter any terrifying dangers in the immortal moon crevice this time. So, Lin Feng and the cursed doll needed to adjust their state. It would be best if they could adjust their state to the best. This way, they would be able to better face the dangers that might appear. If they entered the immortal moon crevice in a bad state, they might encounter a disaster inside. Lin Feng would not underestimate such a dangerous place. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, night came. At night, the immortal moon crevice seemed a little eerie and terrifying. Waves of cold aura surged out from the crevice. So, when night fell, most of the cultivators lingering around the immortal moon stream had already left. They did not dare to stay any longer. He was afraid of encountering danger. However, there was also a portion of cultivators who didn't leave. They wanted to see what the immortal moon stream looked like at night. Midnight. The yin qi in the immortal moon stream was at its densest. The moonlight moved. The moonlight shone on a mountain peak inside the immortal moon stream. It's the 7th mountain from the outside. Lin Feng's face lit up. Then, he entered the immortal moon stream with the cursed doll. Damn, is he tired of living? He actually dares to enter the immortal moon stream! A cultivator exclaimed when he saw Lin Feng and the cursed doll entering the immortal moon stream. Another cultivator said, There will always be people who take risks for opportunities, only to end up losing their lives in the end. These words resonated with many people. The cultivators outside felt that Lin Feng and the cursed doll had taken the risk to enter the immortal moon stream and would most likely never return. After entering the immortal moon stream, Lin Feng indeed felt a ghastly and terrifying aura enveloping his body. This place was very dangerous. The void was filled with powerful seals. One had to be very careful when dealing with those seals. If one was hit by those seals, it would be extremely dangerous. However, Lin Feng was proficient in great arrays, so he successfully dodged many of the seals in the immortal moon stream with the cursed doll. They kept getting closer to the mountain peak where the crescent moon grass grew. However, not long after, the cursed doll said, Something's wrong. What's wrong? Lin Feng asked. I feel like we're being watched by something. The cursed doll said. It can't be, right? Lin Feng's expression became uncertain. This was not a small matter. Instead, it was an extremely serious matter. Was he really being targeted by something? If that was the case, then the thing that was watching them would definitely be unimaginably terrifying. Because, Lin Feng's sudden inspiration ability. He couldn't sense that thing. This was the most terrifying part. This feeling is very weak. If I wasn't a special life form, perhaps even I wouldn't have been able to sense it. The cursed doll said. Lin Feng's expression couldn't help but become serious. The cursed doll didn't seem like it was joking. In that case, there really was something terrifying that was watching the two of them. What exactly was it? Lin Feng didn't know. The cursed doll. He didn't know either. Lin Feng tried to use his spiritual will to search. However, he found nothing. It was hidden so deeply. The other party had hidden so deeply that even if Lin Feng wanted to investigate, he had no way to do so. It seemed that they had really encountered something troublesome. Lin Feng said, Just be careful. As long as it doesn't come out to attack us, we don't have to pay attention to it. Once we get the crescent moon grass, we will immediately leave this place. Yes. The cursed doll nodded. This was the only way. Lin Feng and the cursed doll increased their speed. Not long after, Lin Feng felt that his head was a little dizzy. This caused his expression to become extremely ugly. For no reason. Why was his head dizzy? I feel very dizzy. I don't know what's affecting me, Lin Feng said with an ugly expression. The cursed doll smiled bitterly and said, I also feel very dizzy. I don't know if that thing in the dark is affecting us. Actually, even if the existence in the dark was very powerful, Lin Feng and the cursed doll were not necessarily afraid of it. If they couldn't beat the other party, they could still run. However, the existence in the dark would hide and not come out. It would use some dirty tricks behind their backs. This was the most terrifying thing. For example, now, Lin Feng and the cursed doll did not know what attack they had suffered, but they felt dizzy. This was an extremely bad sign. If they fainted here, wouldn't they be dead? Hoo. Lin Feng felt that his breathing had become rapid. The cursed doll was the same. We're in trouble. Lin Feng and the cursed doll looked at each other. They both knew that they had encountered some trouble. Let's retreat first, the cursed doll said. Lin Feng nodded. If they continued to stay here, they did not know what terrible things would happen. Lin Feng and the cursed doll rushed outside. However, they had just rushed out a distance of more than 10 meters. Their expressions abruptly changed. Because, in the forest in front of them, a little boy actually walked out. Lin Feng and the cursed doll obviously did not believe that the little boy was really a little boy. This place was so dangerous. How could there be a little boy? Chapter 5171. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. We didn't see anything. The cursed doll was hypnotizing itself. This guy. It turned around and wanted to run away, but it was caught by Lin Feng. F***ck, why did you catch me? Hurry up and leave. The cursed doll looked at Lin Feng angrily. It wanted Kevin to leave this damn place as soon as possible. Lin Feng said, Since he has already locked onto us, do you think we can still leave? The cursed doll sighed. Although it didn't want to admit it, it seemed that it had to admit it. Something still had to be faced. For example, that little boy. Lin Feng looked at the little boy. He originally thought that the little boy would attack him and the cursed doll, but unexpectedly, the little boy didn't attack him and the cursed doll. The little boy just stood not far away and looked at the two of them. He wanted to come over, but he seemed to be hesitating. When Lin Feng saw that something was wrong, the cursed doll also saw that something was wrong. The little boy. He didn't seem to have any hostility towards them. In other words, the dizziness from before wasn't caused by the little boy. However, what was going on with the little boy? In the beginning, Lin Feng and the cursed doll didn't think that he was a real, little boy. But now, they didn't think so anymore. Now, Lin Feng felt that the other party seemed to be a little boy. He was very young. His origin was mysterious. Little brother, why are you here? Lin Feng tried to ask. The little boy said, I ran in here by myself. F***ck? You ran in here by yourself? The cursed doll couldn't help but roll its eyes. This place was so dangerous, but nothing happened to him when he ran in. This was too strange, wasn't it? Could it be because he was lucky? How lucky did he have to be able to avoid all the attacks? Although he doesn't have any hostility towards us, this little guy is still a little strange, the cursed doll said. Of course, Lin Feng knew about this point. This little guy was indeed a little strange. Otherwise, how could he run into the immortal moon stream alone and not encounter any danger? This was one of the more bizarre aspects. Lin Feng replied, Don't be afraid. Let's go. The cursed doll thought for a moment and nodded. He walked towards the little boy with Lin Feng. However, the little boy chose to retreat. Lin Feng and the cursed doll could not help but frown. Since the little boy chose to retreat, in that case, they did not want to continue. Clearly, the boy was afraid and did not dare let Lin Feng and the cursed doll get close to him. Lin Feng replied, We have no ill intentions towards you. The little boy looked at Lin Feng and the cursed doll with his big round eyes. He didn't say anything, and no one knew what he was thinking. Lin Feng asked, What's your name? The little boy remained silent. He didn't answer Lin Feng. Where are the adults in your family? Lin Feng continued to ask. The little boy shook his head. Then, he said pitifully, I'm the only one left. Then why don't you stay by our side? Big brother will take care of you. Lin Feng looked at the little boy and said. A conflicted expression appeared on the little boy's face. He was hesitating. Lin Feng did not say anything else. Whether he chose to stay by their side or not was up to the little boy. Therefore, Lin Feng would not interfere with the little boy's decision. In the end, the little boy seemed to have mustered up his courage and walked towards Lin Feng. However, when the little boy was halfway there, a black aura suddenly surged out from the ground. That ball of darkness was about to devour the little boy. Not good. Lin Feng and the cursed doll's expressions suddenly changed. That ball of darkness. It was very terrifying. It seemed to be able to devour life. It was unknown if it was some kind of special life form. One had to know. The more dangerous the area was, the more likely it was for that kind of special life form to appear. That kind of existence. They were all very terrifying. Lin Feng and the cursed doll rushed towards the little boy. They wanted to save the little boy. However, it was too late. Just as the darkness was about to devour the little boy, a sun rose from the little boy's dantian. That sun. It protected the little boy within it. When the darkness came into contact with the sun, there was a violent burning sound. Son of the sun! A terrified cry came from the distorted darkness. That ball of darkness had suffered extremely serious damage. However, that ball of darkness was also very extraordinary. Although it was injured, it was not completely destroyed. In the end, that ball of darkness drilled into the ground and escaped. And that sun also disappeared. Damn, isn't that the sun we saw before? The cursed doll could not help but exclaim. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and nodded. This was indeed the sun they had seen before. At that time, Lin Feng and the cursed doll saw the 5 experts besieging the sun. However, that sun was very terrifying. In the end, they managed to escape. After that, Lin Feng and the cursed doll never saw that sun again. But who would have thought that there would be such a little boy in that sun? Lin Feng said. The voice that came from the darkness seemed to be saying that this little guy is the son of the sun? Is he the son of the sun? I don't think so. Could he be the son of the ancient sun god or the ancient sun emperor? The cursed doll said. The ancient sun god and the ancient sun emperor were 2 different kinds of titled gods. Whether it was the ancient sun god or the ancient sun emperor, in the past, he was definitely an extremely terrifying existence that had intimidated many great eras. Of course, titled gods? There was usually more than one. Inherited titled gods? There were strong and weak existences. However, generally speaking, they were all the strongest of the first generation. Because the first generation belonged to the creator of this kind of titled god? Characters. For example, when we talk about the ancient Sun Emperor, we usually refer to the first generation ancient Sun Emperor. As for the other ancient Sun Emperors, we would refer to them as the generation ancient Sun Emperor. At that moment, the little boy came to Lin Feng and the cursed doll's side. The cursed doll looked at the little boy and asked, Kid, who is your father? My father is the ancient Sun Emperor, the little boy said. Lin Feng and the cursed doll could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. This little guy, he was actually the son of the ancient Sun Emperor. The ancient Sun Emperor was a character from countless years ago. He had been dead for who knew how many years. Logically speaking, his son should have died a long time ago. However, his son looked only a few years old. This meant, back then, for unknown reasons, the ancient Sun Emperor sealed his son in a divine stone. Until recently. Chapter 5172. Since you are the son of the ancient Sun Emperor, you can't be called Little Sun, right? The cursed doll looked at the little boy and asked. The little boy nodded and said, Yes, he is really called Little Sunday. Although this little guy looked like he was only 5 or 6 years old, however, he was very smart. The most important thing was, his logic was relatively complete. As expected of the ancient Sun Emperor's son, he was much smarter than his peers. Let's leave this damned place now and come back tomorrow, the cursed doll said. Lin Feng did not have any objections to this. Perhaps it would be safer during the day than at night. If that was the case, the chances of obtaining the crescent moon grass would greatly increase. Little Sun asked. Are you here to find something? Lin Feng said. We're looking for the crescent moon grass on that mountain peak over there. Lin Feng pointed to Little Sunday. Little Sun asked. Then why are you leaving? Lin Feng said. Because we feel very dizzy, as if something is secretly attacking us. Little Sun said. I know what it is. I saw that thing. What? You can see that thing? You're awesome, as expected of the ancient Sun Emperor's son. Hurry up and tell me where that thing is. I'm going to kill it, the cursed doll said angrily. He still felt an intense pain in his head. He did not know what was behind it previously. Therefore, the cursed doll had no way of taking revenge. Now, he knew what was behind it. The cursed doll planned to take revenge. A vengeance would not change one's character. The sun shines upon the earth. At this moment, Little Sun spoke. He waved his small hand. Sunlight surged out. It shone in all directions. Under the illumination of the sun, a shadowy existence appeared. It was a shadow-like existence. It had a pair of blood-red eyes. A dark body. Blood-red eyes. They were combined together. It was really strange. It made one's hair stand on end. It's an essence soul demon. There's actually an essence soul demon in this place. What an unlucky place. After seeing the terrifying existence, the cursed doll could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Next, he directly unleashed the power of the curse towards the terrifying existence. Keek keek. When Lin Feng heard that voice, he frowned. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. This guy seemed to have nothing to fear. Sure enough, the soul essence demon dodged the curse power of the cursed doll. However, the soul essence demon did not continue to stay here. After all, he had already exposed himself. He continued to stay. He wondered if there would be any danger. The soul essence demon quickly flew into the distance. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. Soul essence demons are really strange. The cursed doll could not help but frown. Lin Feng asked. What the hell is a soul essence demon? The cursed doll said. It's a kind of spiritual demon. This kind of spiritual demon is relatively special. It's the spiritual energy of a powerful cultivator after his death. The most terrifying thing about a soul essence demon is actually not its ability to harm a cultivator's soul. It's because it's immortal. It's very difficult to kill a soul source demon. When one of the two sides is difficult to kill, it's an extremely bad thing. Of course, soul source demons also have things they're afraid of. For example, the body of the little sun is its nemesis. In addition, there are also some weapons of extreme yang, which are also its nemesis. If it weren't for the little sun, that guy wouldn't have left so easily. I think it would have been waiting for an opportunity to attack us. Lin Feng nodded. Then he thought of the grand firmament purple thunder bamboo seedling that he was cultivating. When the grand firmament purple thunder bamboo seedling matured, he would forge the third lifebound magic treasure. This was an item of extreme yang. It was just right to restrain a terrifying existence like the soul essence demon. Now that Lin Feng had the spiritual deity liquid, cultivating the grand firmament purple thunder bamboo should be a matter of course. Of course, this would have to wait until Lin Feng was free to do this. Now that the threat of the soul essence demon had been dealt with, Lin Feng planned to quickly head to the 7th mountain peak and take the crescent moon grass. He told the cursed doll his plan, and the cursed doll agreed. They were currently on the 6th mountain peak. They were very close to the 7th mountain peak. So it was better to pick the crescent moon grass now. Of course, he could also go out now and come back tomorrow during the day. However, who could guarantee that they wouldn't encounter the most terrifying danger during the day? All of these were possible. Therefore, it was better to take advantage of this opportunity to pick the crescent moon grass. After reaching an agreement, Lin Feng, the cursed doll, and the little sun quickly headed towards the 7th mountain peak. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. Not long after, Lin Feng found the crescent moon grass at the top of a cliff. Crescent moon grass. It had a silver-white color. This color. It was quite similar to the color of moonlight. Lin Feng quickly flew over and picked the crescent moon grass. His face lit up. He had finally found the 3 types of detoxification treasures. This time, there was hope for Ling Zishi to detoxify the poison. Next, he only needed to fuse the crescent moon grass and the snow dragon grass into the dustless clean water according to a certain ratio. Let the 3 things fully fuse and react for a period of time. Then, he could feed it to Ling Zishi. After Lin Feng kept the crescent moon grass, he quickly gathered together with the cursed doll and the little sun. They didn't stop and directly rushed outside. However, they hadn't left the range of the 7th mountain peak yet. Suddenly, the restrictions in the entire immortal moon crevice violently fluctuated. Not good, something seems to be happening in the immortal moon crevice. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. The 3 of them didn't dare to stay and quickly headed outside. It was just that the immortal moon crevice was densely packed with restrictions, so sometimes they couldn't go fast even if they wanted to. This was because cultivators could be attacked by restrictions at any time. And this time, There seemed to be something wrong with the restrictions in the immortal moon crevice. A large number of restrictions awakened, and then those restrictions released an earth-shattering attack. All of the attacks were aimed at Lin Feng, the cursed doll, and the sun's child. There is some terrifying existence secretly controlling these restrictions to attack us. Everyone, be careful. Lin Feng's face suddenly darkened. Damn, what bad luck! The cursed doll couldn't help but curse in a low voice. There were simply too many restrictions. Lin Feng brought the cursed doll and the little son and shuttled through the restrictions. Although he had avoided a large number of restrictions. However, Chapter 5173. Lin Feng created a large defensive light shield that enveloped the cursed doll and little Sunday. The cursed doll helped Lin Feng block the attacks of the restrictions while little Sun watched from the side. His body was rather special. Although he could release the sun-like thing to protect his body, he could not control the power of his body. However, he was unable to control this power in his body. The appearance of the small sun was more of an active release in times of danger. It was equivalent to a form of protection for his body. Bang! 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 All kinds of restrictions bombarded. Those restrictions fiercely bombarded Lin Feng's defensive light shield. Suddenly, there was a violent collision sound. Fortunately, Lin Feng's defensive light shield was relatively strong. Otherwise, it would not have been easy to block the attacks released by so many restrictions. Lin Feng knew that he had to leave this place quickly. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. In such a place, danger was everywhere. If he was not careful, he could die miserably. The key was that there was a terrifying existence hidden in the dark. However, Lin Feng did not know who the existence hidden in the dark was. Could it be a top creature in the immortal moon stream? Perhaps there was such a possibility. Lin Feng displayed his spirit array technique to the extreme. When Lin Feng's spirit array technique was displayed to the extreme, the countless restrictions attacks were successfully dodged by Lin Feng. Lin Feng brought the cursed doll and little son to shuttle through all kinds of attacks. Of course, even if Lin Feng displayed his spirit array technique to the extreme, there were still some attacks that would kill them. However, Lin Feng did not care about those attacks. The cursed doll and Lin Feng had a clear division of labor. Lin Feng was responsible for bringing them away, while the cursed doll was responsible for blocking the attacks that Lin Feng did not dodge. Only in this way could Lin Feng's mind be completely focused on displaying his spirit array technique. Only in this way could Lin Feng freely shuttle through the countless restrictions attacks. In fact, when he fully displayed his spirit array technique, Lin Feng was extremely tired, mainly because of the mental fatigue. However, at this time, he had to go all out. Otherwise, he might really die in the immortal moon stream. Not long after, Lin Feng rushed to the third mountain with the cursed doll and little Sunday. They had already seen the hope of getting out. At this moment, an unparalleled cold light slashed towards Lin Feng. The unparalleled cold light was extremely terrifying. It directly tore through the void. Its power shocked Lin Feng. Damn, someone is attacking us from the dark. What a powerful attack! The cursed doll shouted loudly. He quickly cast a curse technique to resist the attack. The cursed doll's curse technique was quite powerful. Therefore, when the cursed doll chanted the incantation and cast the curse technique, the cold light that was slashing towards Lin Feng directly shattered in the void. Haha, Lin Feng, you piece of trash. Now you don't even dare to block my attack yourself? You'll only let others block my attack for you. A mocking voice rang out from the void. Following that, a cultivator holding a war spear stepped out from the void. After seeing this cultivator, Lin Feng could not help but be stunned. This was because the person who appeared before him was actually Di Jue, the crown prince of the Dao Saint Palace. Back then, Lin Feng and Yu Ji had joined forces to defeat Di Jue. After that, Di Jue was swallowed by the space-time storm. Di Jue was indeed a formidable enemy. The combat strength that he displayed back then was extremely heaven-defying. If it was not for Yu Ji's help, it would be extremely difficult to defeat Di Jue. Lin Feng originally thought that Dijue was already dead. He did not expect him to still be alive. Moreover, the current Dijue was many times more powerful than when he was in the mortal world. It seemed like Dijue had also obtained a great opportunity. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to be so powerful. I was wondering who it was. So, it's you, a loser. I don't even bother to attack a loser's attack. Moreover, you're no longer qualified for me to attack, Lin Feng said nonchalantly. After hearing Lin Feng's words, Dijue was so angry that his face turned pale. Dijue had always been invincible in his life. Until that battle, he had never been defeated. That battle ended with his defeat. Dijue's defeat. It was as though he was driven mad with hatred. Now that he heard Lin Feng's disdainful words, Dijue became even more enraged. Old hatred and new enmity were added together. This kind of hatred, it made Dijue wish that he could eat Lin Feng's flesh and drink Lin Feng's blood. Lin Feng, what's there for you to be proud of? The reason I lost to you the last time was because someone helped you. If we were to fight one-on-one, I'd crush you like crushing an ant. Dijue glared at Lin Feng with hatred. Lin Feng said, You really have a kind of mysterious confidence. Who gave you such confidence? Who gave you such confidence to actually say such words? However, why do I feel like you're just bragging? No wonder the sky is so dark today. It turns out that there's a cow flying in the sky. Why is there a cow flying in the sky? It's because Dijue is bragging on the ground. Ha ha! Damn it! Brother, are you trying to make me die from laughter? The cursed doll could not help but laugh out loud. Even Lil Sun was clapping at the side. The little fellow also felt that Lin Feng's teasing of Dijue was very funny. However, Dijue did not think it was funny at all. He was not angered to death by Lin Feng. It was already quite good. Lin Feng, you said so much, but it doesn't change the fact that you can't defeat me, Dijue said coldly. He knew that he was definitely not Lin Feng's match when it came to bickering. Therefore, he did not have the intention to continue bickering with Lin Feng. Instead, he wanted to attack Lin Feng with some things that he believed in. However, it was obvious that this fellow's plan was going to fail. He wanted to use words to attack Lin Feng. This idea was simply too whimsical. Lin Feng said, You're awesome. You're stronger than me. However, you're only stronger than me in your dreams. In reality, you're far weaker than me. Dijue immediately sneered and said, If you want to prove who's stronger and who's weaker, that's easy. Let's have a one-on-one battle. Lin Feng said, Why should I have a one-on-one battle with you? In your dreams. You're really a coward. You don't even have the courage to have a one-on-one battle with me. I really don't know who spread those rumors about you in the outside world. Dijue said coldly. Lin Feng said, It's not that I don't dare, but I don't want to. It's because I prefer to fight in groups. The three of us will fight against you, and I'll beat you until you kneel and beg for mercy. You like to fight in groups? Haha, I like to fight in groups too. Dijue sneered and shouted. Come out, all of you! As soon as Dijue finished speaking, silhouettes rushed out from the forest one after another. There were more than 10 terrifying existences that flew out. After seeing those existences, the corner of Lin Feng's mouth could not help but twitch violently. Those existences were all lean corpses. Chapter 5174. Ghosts like Een corpses were usually very powerful. Conferred gods? The Een corpses they transformed into were even more powerful. Moreover, it was said that conferred gods. The Een corpses they transformed into were different from ordinary Een corpses. Conferred gods? The Een corpses they transformed into usually possessed some divine powers from their previous lives. There were so many conferred gods. The Een corpses they transformed into were not easy to deal with. Lin Feng, if we're ganging up on you now, it should be us ganging up on the three of you, Dijue said proudly. The cursed doll wiped its sweat. Today's situation did not seem good. Now that things had developed to this point, The cursed doll could naturally see that the restriction in the celestial moon stream was acting strangely. It was very likely that this fellow was behind it. The cursed doll guessed. Lin Feng naturally guessed it as well. More than 10 years ago, the celestial moon stream had something to do with you. Lin Feng asked as he looked at Dijue. The reason why Lin Feng said that was because there was a reason. First, at that time, Dijue was swallowed by the space-time storm. The celestial moon stream had also acted strangely around that time. The timing was exactly the same. Second, Dijue seemed to be able to control the celestial moon stream's restriction. This was more terrifying. How did he control the restriction in the celestial moon stream? Third, Dijue was actually able to command those conferred gods. They were Yin corpses after they died. Yin corpses would not listen to other people's orders. Therefore, logically speaking, it was absolutely impossible for Dijue to command Yin corpses. However, Dijue was able to do that. This made people feel a little incredulous. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that after Dijue was swallowed by the space-time storm that year, not only did he not die, he even obtained a great opportunity of fortune. Dijue looked at Lin Feng with a gloomy expression. He said, "That's right. The strange movement that time was indeed related to me." Lin Feng said, "It seems like you should thank me. If I hadn't beaten you half to death, you wouldn't have been swallowed by the space-time storm. If you hadn't been swallowed by the space-time storm, you wouldn't have obtained so many opportunities. If you didn't have so many opportunities, you wouldn't be as strong as you are now." Upon hearing Lin Feng's words, a ferocious expression immediately appeared on Dijue's face. "Thank you? You really have the nerve to say such words. Do you know what happened to me after I was swallowed up by the space-time storm? Do you know what it means to wish you were dead? After I was devoured by the space-time storm, the pain I suffered was 10 times worse than death. I even wanted to kill myself so that it wouldn't be so painful. But I can't accept it. I don't want to die like this. If I die, who will avenge me? As for my enemy, he's still living a carefree life." When I thought of this, I couldn't help but feel the hatred of 5,000 crises. This hatred made me unwilling to surrender to fate. This hatred made me stronger. I told myself that I must live on. I must live on. It was this strong belief that allowed me to live on until I saw a spatial node in the space-time storm. I have to say that my luck was pretty good because the spatial node I saw was the spatial node that led to the core of the celestial moon valley. I used all of my strength to rush to the spatial node and then entered it. It was also at that time that my fate changed. Lin Feng asked, "What benefits did you obtain here?" Dijue said proudly, "I inherited the title of a titled god here. It was a powerful orthodoxy of a godly king. I swallowed some immortal pills left behind by that godly king. My body and my soul were both transformed by the immortal pills. My innate talent was already very strong. Under the effect of the immortal pills, it became even stronger. My strength also increased by leaps and bounds. So, the current me is no longer the same as before. Of course, this isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is that I obtained the method to control the seals here. I even obtained the method to command these powerful Yin corpses. Previously, I went to look for you and even secretly followed you, but you didn't notice. I've been thinking about the safest way to deal with you. Although you're my enemy and your strength is much weaker than mine, there's one thing I have to say. You're like a loach. If I can't kill you once, it'll be more difficult to kill you again. In order to kill you once, I need to be fully prepared." Dijue had been belittling Lin Feng when he was praising himself. Although this fellow was arrogant and conceited, he was indeed very capable. Lin Feng had to admit that. Lin Feng did not interrupt Dijue. He wanted to know what Dijue wanted to say. At this moment, Dijue continued to ask, "Didn't you suspect that the woman beside you was poisoned?" Upon hearing Dijue's words, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He looked at Dijue with a gloomy expression and asked, "You're the one behind this?" "Of course." Dijue burst out laughing immediately. When he saw that Lin Feng was angry, he felt extremely happy. Dijue said, "Originally, I wanted to use the poisonous bug to deal with you, but you're too cautious, so I didn't do that. The woman beside you is always loud and loud. To put it nicely, a person like her is innocent, but to put it bluntly, she's just an idiot. Of course, it's much easier to deal with an idiot," Lin Feng said. "You really have the talent to be a bad person because your mouth is really cheap." Dijue did not mind Lin Feng's mockery and continued to say, "After that woman was poisoned, you would definitely look for a way to cure the poison. Coincidentally, there's a crescent moon grass here in the Immortal Moon Valley. I've long asked around about the crescent moon grass and knew that you wouldn't be able to find it outside. In order to cure that woman's poison, you would definitely come to the Immortal Moon Valley. Originally, I wanted to leak the information about the crescent moon grass to your people, but I didn't expect that the cursed baby beside you would know about this as well. It would save me a lot of trouble. Therefore, I've already planned every step. As for you, you're being led by the nose. Now that you're trapped in the Immortal Moon Valley, do you think you still have any hope of getting out alive?" Dijue looked at Lin Feng with an indifferent expression. It was as though he was looking at a dead man. Chapter 5175. It was no wonder that Dijue was so confident. This guy was very calculative, and his plan was almost perfect. Therefore, that was why Dijue was so confident. Said Lin Feng. "You miscalculated," said Lin Feng. "What is it?" Dijue looked at Lin Feng. "I'll meet the only son of the ancient Sun Emperor here," Lin Feng said. "Are you talking about that little brat beside you?" Dijue glanced at Little Sun in disdain. He was only 5 or 6 years old. What could such a little brat do? "Don't underestimate me." Little Sun placed his hands on his waist, looking like a little adult. He was looked down upon by Dijue. Little Sun looked very unhappy. That was why Little Sun looked so angry now. He was really stubborn. However, when he thought about it, Little Sun's bloodline was the Sun bloodline. It was normal for him to have a bad temper since he was young. "Attack!" Dijue sneered and ignored Little Sunday. He was just a child. So what if he was the son of the ancient Sun Emperor? Dijue did not even bother to pay attention to Little Sunday. He gave the order to the Yin corpses. The Yin corpses quickly charged over. The most powerful ones were these Yin corpses. Conferred God? The Yin corpses that they turned into made Lin Feng's hair stand on end. Each of the Yin corpses was very powerful. With so many of them attacking together, even a golden immortal would find it difficult to resist the attacks of these Yin corpses. In this place, not only were there attacks from the Yin corpses, but there were also attacks from many great formations. In fact, Dijue had provoked Lin Feng earlier. He wanted to have a one-on-one duel with Lin Feng. In fact, it was also to deceive Lin Feng. This guy wanted to lure Lin Feng out. Then, more than 10 Yin corpses that were hiding in the dark attacked together. At that time, they would be able to take down Lin Feng in an instant. However, Lin Feng did not fall for it. This made Dijue feel very depressed. However, it was fine if he did not fall for it. In Dijue's opinion, Lin Feng was dead for sure. The price of Lin Feng not being fooled was that he had to spend more time and energy dealing with Lin Feng. When the dozen Yin corpses attacked, Lin Feng was multitasking, summoning many powerful magic treasures. For example, the Stone Sword, Hell King Bell, and other treasures. Lin Feng took them all out. The power contained in these supreme treasures was extremely strong. Each supreme treasure could release an extremely powerful attack. Lin Feng took out these treasures and fought with the Yin corpses. The bodies of the Yin corpses were the most powerful weapons. Their fingernails were often very long. When the nails collided with Lin Feng's magic weapon, a series of clanging sounds rang out. Every collision sound was so deafening that even the deaf could hear it. Although the Yin corpses were strong, they were still temporarily stalled by Lin Feng. However, the consumption of Lin Feng's dermic powers by summoning more than a dozen dermic treasures at once was just too great. Lin Feng could not hold on for too long. I didn't expect you to have such an ability. When Di Jue saw Lin Feng multitasking and summoning more than a dozen powerful dermic treasures to deal with the Yin corpses that he summoned, his face instantly turned extremely gloomy. His eyes were filled with jealousy when he looked at Lin Feng. He, Di Jue, also wished that he had such a terrifying ability. However, Di Jue could only be envious. Di Jue said fiercely, Lin Feng, how long do you think your dermic powers can last? It won't be long before your dermic powers are depleted. At that time, let's see how you'll die. Lin Feng sneered. He ignored Di Jue and looked at the little sun instead. Lin Feng said, Little fella, try and see if you can release the sun from before. In fact, Lin Feng did not know what the sun from before was. Was it the energy in his body? Was it a dermic treasure? Or was it some kind of ability that was manifested from his bloodline? Lin Feng thought. Perhaps it was possible. However, no matter what it was, the sun was the Yin corpse's nemesis. The little sun tried. Then, it said with a bitter expression, I can't summon it. Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and said, Cursed doll, help the little sun. The cursed doll nodded. His experience was incomparably rich. It could indeed help the little sun. The cursed doll looked at the little sun and said, Little fella, relax. Don't block my divine will with your soul. Today, we must borrow your power to deal with those Yin corpses. Otherwise, we'll all die here. I don't want to die here. The little sun said pitifully. I don't want to die here. The little sun said pitifully. If you don't want to die here, you'll do whatever I ask you to do. The cursed doll said arrogantly. The little sun nodded vigorously. Then, the cursed doll reached out and gently tapped the little sun's forehead. The cursed doll then closed its eyes. The little sun's eyes darted around. The cursed doll said, Close your eyes too and try to communicate with my spirit. After all, the little sun was still too young. The cursed doll's words sounded a little profound to him, so he looked as if he understood it but did not. The cursed doll also knew that the little sun might not understand what it meant. Therefore it added, If you don't know how to communicate with your spirit, then don't think about anything. This time, the little sun understood. On the other side, Di Jue also noticed that something was wrong, and his face darkened slightly. Di Jue did not continue to stand in the void and watch the show. He also joined the battlefield. Di Jue's cultivation base was very powerful. When Di Jue joined the battlefield, the pressure on Lin Feng's side increased. Di Jue swept away the stone sword that was slashing at him. Then, he quickly approached Lin Feng. Soon, Di Jue arrived in front of Lin Feng. He held the battle spear in his hand and charged at Lin Feng. Lin Feng also held a battle spear in his hand. However, his battle spear was the epic battle spear. It was much more powerful than Di Jue's battle spear that was at the level of a true immortal. However, Lin Feng was multitasking, and the consumption of his dermic powers was too severe. Therefore, his combat strength had decreased tremendously. Therefore, even with the epic battle spear in his hand, it was difficult for him to defeat Di Jue. Instead, he was suppressed by Di Jue. Di Jue's attacks were getting fiercer and fiercer. He wanted to take down Lin Feng in one go. However, Lin Feng's techniques were very powerful. Although his combat strength had decreased due to the dispersion of his dermic powers, however, it was absolutely impossible for Di Jue to defeat him quickly. Just as Lin Feng and Di Jue were engaged in a great battle, endless divine sunlight surged out of the little sun's dantian. It illuminated the world. Then, a sun slowly rose into the sky. The sun protected the little sun within it. When the sun appeared, the temperature of the world rose rapidly. The darkness was dispelled. The world became bright and resplendent. Chapter 5176. The sunlight that was emitted from the sun was different from the others. There was an extremely extraordinary energy contained within it. That energy seemed to be able to dispel all evil in an instant. When the sunlight that was emitted from the sun shone on the Een corpses' bodies, the Een corpses' bodies immediately emitted a sizzling sound of burning. The Een corpses' bodies actually began to burn at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. The sun was an energy of the purest yang. Therefore, it was extremely harmful to the Een corpses. Therefore, when the Een corpses received the sun's attack, they immediately let out a painful shriek. The Een corpses no longer dared to get close to Lin Feng and the others. Instead, they quickly fled into the distance. Damn it! How did this happen? Upon seeing this, Dijue became slightly flustered and exasperated. Initially, Dijue wanted to borrow the Een corpses' power to kill Lin Feng and the others. However, the Een corpses were suppressed by the sun. Now, they did not dare to come forward at all. Dijue tried to give the Een corpses an order, but they did not listen to him at all. They did not even care about him at all. This caused Dijue's expression to turn extremely grave. Initially, he did not take the little sun seriously. So what if the little sun was the ancient Sun Emperor's son? The main reason was that the little sun was too small. If it were anyone else, they would inevitably look down on him. This was also one of the reasons why Dijue had failed this time. When facing any enemy, one could never underestimate them. If one dared to underestimate their opponent, they would definitely die. If they dared to do so, it was very likely that they would have to pay an extremely heavy price. This kind of thing happened every day. However, there were too few people who could keep this in mind at all times. Dijue could not do this, and sometimes, Lin Feng could not do this as well. This was also human nature. Dijue, die! After the Een corpses fled into the distance, Lin Feng activated more than 10 powerful Dharma treasures and charged toward Dijue. Dijue's expression turned grim. This fella also had a way to deal with the attack of those powerful Dharma treasures. A shield suddenly appeared in Dijue's left hand. The shield was activated in an instant. Then, a huge energy shield emitted from the shield and enveloped Dijue within it. When Lin Feng's treasures arrived, Lin Feng's expression changed. All the magic treasures were blocked by the energy shield. Damn, what a powerful defensive treasure! Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little depressed. Originally, he had thought that even if he could not kill Dijue, he would still be able to inflict severe injuries on him. But now it seems his plan fell through. Lin Feng hurriedly put away the other Dharma treasures except for the epic war spear. Previously, he had used so many magic treasures at the same time. More than half of his magic power had been consumed, and his battle prowess had dropped by a lot. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't have enough magic power to activate so many magic treasures. When Lin Feng put away the Dharma treasures, Dijue did not retreat. Instead, he advanced and charged toward Lin Feng. This guy was holding a spear in one hand and a shield in the other. Attack and defense in one. He quickly arrived in front of Lin Feng and stabbed the spear in his hand at Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He held the epic war spear in his hand and performed the total annihilation technique. The epic war spear in Lin Feng's hand swept toward Dijue's war spear. The epic war spear was indeed worthy of being a top-notch treasure passed down by the sovereign emperor clan. Its power was just too powerful. Even though Lin Feng's magic power had been severely depleted, the power of the epic war spear was still shocking and moving. When Lin Feng activated the epic war spear with all his might, it even sent Dijue flying. Then, Lin Feng quickly charged toward Dijue. His magic power surged into the epic war spear continuously. Lin Feng held the epic war spear in his hand and stabbed toward Dijue. The shield in Dijue's hand once again released a defensive light shield. The defensive light shield protected Dijue within it. However, when Lin Feng's spear stabbed toward him, the energy light shield was pierced through by Lin Feng's epic war spear. Lin Feng's attack did not stop there. He became one with the spear. He stabbed toward Dijue. Naturally, Lin Feng wanted to kill Dijue as soon as possible. Although he did not really like Dijue, there was one thing that Lin Feng agreed with. That was Dijue. He was definitely a powerful person. A cultivator who survived a great disaster would usually become more and more terrifying. Dijue belonged to this type of person. If he did not kill him, no one knew what kind of trouble he would cause in the future. Just as Lin Feng's spear was about to stab Dijue, Dijue quickly moved. However, Dijue quickly made his move. The shield in his left hand was placed in front of him. Clang! Lin Feng's spear. It directly stabbed into the shield. That shield of his was an extremely powerful defensive magic treasure. Therefore, when Lin Feng's spear stabbed the shield, other than a clanging sound of collision, nothing else happened. It did not break the shield at all. Lin Feng suspected that the shield was left behind by the Divine King back then. In fact, Lin Feng's guess was right. The origin of the shield was not simple. It was called the Divine King's Shield. It was a shield that the Divine King had spent a lot of effort to forge. Its defensive power was extremely powerful. Back then, the Divine King had relied on the Divine King's shield to defeat a few experts who had similar strength as him. It could be seen that the Divine King's shield played a crucial role in a great battle. If it was not for the Divine King's shield, Dijue would have been killed by Lin Feng. Of course, there were no ifs in this world. Moreover, Dijue had mastered this Divine King's shield. Just like how Lin Feng had mastered many powerful Dharma treasures were also a part of a cultivator's strength. Therefore, in a great battle between cultivators, one could not exclude the Dharma treasures of the other party when estimating their strength. This was a kind of self-deception. Heaven-piercing spear! After Dijue used the Divine King's shield to block Lin Feng's attack, he immediately launched an attack at Lin Feng. He held the war spear in his right hand and stabbed it at Lin Feng. The strength of the spear was quite ferocious. After sensing the power of the spear, Lin Feng could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. At the critical moment, Lin Feng's wrist suddenly shook. Following that, the arrow war spear in his hand violently shook the void. Then, the arrow war spear in his hand lashed out like a whip. The arrow war spear collided with the war spear that Dijue had thrust out, causing Dijue's war spear to deviate. Dijue's expression was indifferent. Just as he was about to launch a new attack at Lin Feng, all of a sudden, puff! Chapter 5177. Diju let out an incomparably painful scream. His chest was pierced through. To anyone, it was a serious injury. Naturally, it was the same for Dijue. Unlike Lin Feng, Dijue did not possess the undying bloodline that could heal his injuries in a short period of time. He had suffered such a serious injury, and needed time to recuperate before he could recover. Dijue's injury was caused by the cursed doll. The cursed doll was an expert in the art of cursing. His art of cursing was much more powerful than Lin Feng's art of cursing. He could launch an attack on the enemy without making a sound. Moreover, it could often inflict serious injuries on the enemy. Such a technique? It was quite terrifying. When Lin Feng was fighting with Dijue earlier, the cursed doll had already begun to brew a powerful art of cursing. Therefore, at the critical moment, the cursed doll had successfully injured Dijue with the art of cursing. "I'll kill you while you're injured," Lin Feng smirked. He held the arrow war spear in his hand and charged toward Dijue. Dijue was injured by the cursed doll. This was the best time to kill Dijue. If he missed this opportunity, it would not be so easy to kill Dijue again. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Therefore, Lin Feng did not hold back at all. He directly launched his most ferocious attack on Dijue. "Dijue, my grandson, your grandfather's technique is very powerful, right?" The cursed doll could not help but laugh out loud. Dijue was filled with hatred. After being injured by the cursed doll's attack to such an extent, he could not wait to cut the cursed doll into 8 pieces. However, the current situation was extremely disadvantageous to him. Dijue knew that there was no way to continue this battle. Because he was in an extremely bad situation. If the battle continued, he might die. Dijue quickly retreated. However, at this moment, Lin Feng had already charged toward him. Dijue held the shield in his left hand in front of him. He still wanted to use the shield to block Lin Feng's attack. However, Lin Feng changed his attack pattern. The spear that was originally aimed at Dijue had been changed by Lin Feng to Dijue. Clang! Along with the sound of a violent collision, the war spear in Lin Feng's hand struck hard on Dijue's shield. Diju was sent flying along with his shield by Lin Feng. The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Dijue let out a blood-curdling scream. Lin Feng guessed that Diju's arm that was holding the shield might have been broken by the powerful recoil earlier. Lin Feng's face involuntarily revealed a sneer. Now that Diju was injured again, the threat he posed was greatly reduced. Dijue, I've already told you long ago that you're incapable, but you still refused to admit it, and kept boasting about how awesome you are. Now, can you confirm what I've said? If you can't do it, then you can't. Now you can leave your life here. Lin Feng held the arrow war spear in his hand and quickly charged toward Dijue. At that moment, Lin Feng was like a god of war. His body was emitting a terrifying domineering aura that caused others to be shocked. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. If it wasn't for the fact that you have helpers, do you think you could defeat me? Dijue roared furiously. To a proud and arrogant person like him, his words were like that. Losing twice in a row was indeed a heavy blow to him. Lin Feng sneered. Don't tell me you don't have helpers? You seem to have more helpers, and you can even control the restriction in the celestial moon crevice. These are all your advantages, but you still lost. A loss is a loss. Why are there so many reasons to look for it? Lin Feng said coldly. Very soon. Lin Feng charged toward Dijue again. Lin Feng wanted to stab Dijue to death with his spear, but at that moment, Dijue took out a jade talisman. When Lin Feng saw the jade talisman, his expression changed slightly. This was because when Dijue took out the jade talisman, Lin Feng's blood started to flow at an unprecedented speed. This meant the jade talisman was extremely dangerous. It was enough to threaten his life. It was a huge threat. Dijue had obtained the orthodoxy of the Divine King. He must have obtained many good things from the Divine King. Therefore, Lin Feng did not find it strange that Dijue could take out such a powerful jade talisman. After sensing the power of the jade talisman, Lin Feng did not hesitate and quickly performed the heaven patching technique. After Lin Feng performed the heaven patching technique, he immediately disappeared from his original spot. At the same time, the jade talisman that Dijue took out exploded immediately. The destructive force drowned the place where Lin Feng was originally standing. A large piece of the void shattered immediately. The power of the jade talisman was actually so terrifying. F***ck. When Dijue saw that Lin Feng had actually dodged the jade talisman's attack, he could not help but curse. Dijue only had one jade talisman like that. That jade talisman was indeed left behind by the Divine King. It was the supreme treasure that Dijue used to save his life at a critical moment. Usually, Dijue would not bear to use it at all. However, this time, he really did not have any other choice. If he did not use that jade talisman, he might die in Lin Feng's hands. Therefore, Dijue used the jade talisman. Originally, he hoped that he could use the jade talisman to kill Lin Feng. Even if he could not kill Lin Feng, at the very least, he would have to severely injure Lin Feng. However, things did not go as he wished. Surprisingly, nothing had happened to Lin Feng. This infuriated Dijue greatly. Dijue did not dare to stay any longer. He turned around and fled into the distance. Lin Feng appeared 200 meters away. At this moment, he realized that Dijue had already fled far away. Dijue could control the restriction here. If he wanted to flee, it would be difficult for him to catch up with him. In the end, Dijue fled without a trace. The dozens of corpses also disappeared without a trace. It's a pity that that fella managed to escape. The cursed doll frowned and said, It's indeed not easy to kill him here. Being able to severely injure him is considered a great gain. This time, Dijiri being severely injured is definitely a heavy blow to him. However, this person is not a simple character. We have to be more vigilant against him in the future, Lin Feng said. The cursed doll nodded. Lin Feng and the rest did not stay any longer. He left the celestial moon stream with the cursed doll and Lil Sunday. Then, the three of them flew toward the celestial moon island. Lin Feng planned to cultivate in seclusion on the celestial moon island for a while. This was because he had many things to do. For example, he had to merge the snow dragon grass and crescent moon grass into the dustless clean aqua. This was not a simple matter. There were many things to pay attention to and he could not make any mistakes. Once he made a mistake, it was very likely that the three heavenly treasures would be destroyed. If such a thing happened, Lin Feng would feel like crying but no tears would come out. Besides, now that Lin Feng had broken through to the Earth Immortal Realm, he could continue to open the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. He wondered what kind of treasures he would find after opening the third level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. Chapter 5178. There was a mistake at the end of the previous chapter. It was actually about opening the fourth level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace, not the third level. It had been corrected. This was the first update. Today, it was still 7. Lin Feng, the cursed doll, and Lil Sun were quite lucky. They rented a courtyard in an inn. The reason why they wanted to live in such a place was not because it was comfortable. The main reason was that there would not be too many people living in such a place. This way, it would not be too noisy. Hungry! Lil Sun looked pitifully at Lin Feng. The little guy had been hiding all this time and had not eaten properly. Basically, he had been looking for some wild fruits in the mountains to fill his stomach. It was already quite good that he could fill his stomach. Could it be that he still wanted to eat well? This was not realistic. Lin Feng said. Wait a moment, I'll order a big meal for you. Thank you, big brother. Lil Sun was immediately happy and swallowed his saliva. Although he appeared to be very smart, he was still a child. He still had the childishness of a child and was still very innocent. Lin Feng had indeed ordered a big meal for Lil Sun. 72 dishes filled 2 tables. He and the cursed doll ate together with the little guy. The little guy ate until his mouth was covered in oil. He was very happy. You heartless little thing! The cursed doll muttered. After eating and cleaning up, Lin Feng took a bath and returned to his room. He took out the pure clean aqua, snow dragon grass, and crescent moon grass. He then transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. Demon Lord, help me fuse these 3 things. The Demon Lord flew out of the demon orb and looked at the 3 heavenly treasures on the table. It will probably take some time for the medicinal effects to fully take effect. Therefore, we will need to wait for a while, the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng asked. Can Ling Zixi body last until then? The Demon Lord said. With the white jade toad suppressing the poison in her body, there shouldn't be any problems for now. Alright, let's hope that the fusion will succeed as soon as possible, Lin Feng said. Yes. The Demon Lord nodded. Then, he took the 3 heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Then, he returned to the demonic bead. With a thought, Lin Feng entered the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. Now, Lin Feng was about to open the 4th Divine Tao Immortal Palace. The first 3 Divine Tao Immortal Palaces. The first layer was opened by the 3-headed viper, and the opportunity was obtained by the 3-headed viper. The second and third layers were opened by Lin Feng. In the second layer of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace, Lin Feng obtained the blood-stained stone. The blood-stained was the blood of the dismembered corpse in the mysterious iron box. The blood had already been absorbed by the dismembered corpse. In the third layer of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace, Lin Feng obtained the crystal to activate the sacred bone. It could be said that the items in the second and third levels were incomparably shocking. Lin Feng didn't know what the 4th level was. However, Lin Feng felt that the items in the 4th level should be even more precious. A place like the Divine Tao Immortal Palace was like this. The further in the palace, the more precious the items sealed in it would be. This was very similar to the Chonlu Demon Palace that Lin Feng obtained. Why did the other party do this? Actually, there was a reason. After these experts left behind their orthodoxies, they wouldn't directly leave all the treasures to their inheritors at once. This was because if they left all the treasures to them at once, their inheritors would easily lose themselves. Moreover, obtaining so many treasures might not necessarily be beneficial to one's cultivation. It was very likely that they would become complacent. Therefore, obtaining one or several treasures step by step could urge their inheritors to cultivate even more diligently. Then, they would open new seals and obtain new treasures. It could be said that these experts had put in a lot of effort. Lin Feng began to attempt to break the fourth restriction of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. This restriction was very strong, but it wasn't difficult for the current Lin Feng. However, breaking the restriction required a certain amount of time. Days passed by one after another. Lin Feng spent 3 days breaking the restriction of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. After breaking the restriction, Lin Feng's face finally revealed an expression of relief. It really wasn't easy to break these restrictions. Following which, Lin Feng opened the door. He entered the 4th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. Lin Feng looked at the items placed in the 4th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace in shock. There was a table placed there. On the table, there were more than 10 gourds. Apart from that, there were also dozens of porcelain bottles. He didn't know what they were. Could it be a miraculous elixir? Lin Feng couldn't help but mumble. His eyes immediately lit up. If it was a miraculous elixir, it would definitely be an extremely extraordinary one. Lin Feng went to the table and opened one of the gourds. He found that it was filled with a lot of liquid. Lin Feng poured out some of the liquid and found that it was actually a green liquid. This was the first time he had seen such a liquid. Facing such a green liquid, Lin Feng didn't dare to casually consume it. Who knew if it was poisonous? If it was poisonous, then wouldn't he be crying without tears by then? The Demon Lord was concocting the antidote, so Lin Feng didn't disturb the Demon Lord. Lin Feng thought of Sage Martin. That fellow was very experienced and knowledgeable. He wondered if he could recognize what this liquid was. Thinking about that, Lin Feng said telepathically, "Great Celestial Saint Martin, come out and help me see what it is." Great Immortal Divine Martin flew out and looked at the green liquid before saying, "This is pet cultivation fluid." Pet cultivation fluid? What the hell is that? This is the first time I've heard of such a thing, Lin Feng said. Sage Martin said, "It's said that an extremely terrifying expert of the beast race came up with this spirit fluid. It requires countless precious materials to concoct it, and it can be used to cultivate all kinds of spirit beasts. If those spirit beasts consume this cultivation fluid, their bloodlines will awaken and transform, and their strength will increase greatly." "It's that amazing?" Lin Feng said in shock. This was really good stuff. "Of course it's amazing." Sage Martin nodded. "I heard that it requires more than 90,000 precious herbs to concoct this cultivation fluid, so it's normal that it's amazing." Lin Feng was a bit speechless. A cultivation fluid concocted from more than 90,000 precious herbs was really too precious. One had to know that the immortal pills that cultivators consumed, even the more precious ones, only required a few thousand herbs. Chapter 5179. These things are all good stuff. If Bibi and the others were to consume them, wouldn't their bloodlines continue to evolve and their strength increase by leaps and bounds? Lin Feng immediately laughed. Bibi and the others had a great background. Once they grew up, their battle prowess would be extremely heaven-defying. In fact, although the current Bibi and the others were still young, their battle prowess was already very strong. Moreover, all these years, it had been of great help to Lin Feng. If Bibi and the others could continuously increase their strength, it would naturally be a very happy thing. This was because the stronger they were, the more help they would be to Lin Feng. However, Bibi and the others' evolution was more difficult. They needed time and opportunity to evolve. But now that Lin Feng had obtained a treasure like the pet cultivation fluid, Lin Feng saw the possibility of Bibi and the others evolving. It was extremely possible for them to be able to evolve multiple levels at once and awaken several bloodlines at once. As for how much they could grow, he would need to wait for Bibi and the others to refine the pet cultivation fluid and come out of seclusion to know. Lin Feng looked at the porcelain bottles. He didn't know what was inside the bottles. He opened the bottles and found that they were actually pills. There were about 50 pills in one bottle. Lin Feng poured out a pill. It was a milky white pill. As for what kind of pill it was, Lin Feng wasn't particularly sure, because there were no clues left behind. Lin Feng looked at Great Immortal Sage and asked, "Do you know what this pill is?" Great Immortal Sage said, "It's really a pet aptitude pill. It's 10 times more precious than the pet cultivation fluid." Damn! 10 times more precious than the pet cultivation fluid? Is this pet aptitude pill that precious? Lin Feng's face revealed an incomparably shocked expression. Great Immortal Sage nodded. "Of course." After pausing for a moment, Great Immortal Sage continued. "There is a fundamental difference between the cultivation fluid and the aptitude pill. The cultivation fluid is precious, but it only allows these pets to complete their evolution. It's equivalent to increasing their cultivation speed. However, even without the cultivation fluid, they can still complete their evolution. It's just that it might take a little longer. But the aptitude pill is different. The aptitude pill can increase a pet's cultivation potential. Cultivation potential represents how far a cultivator can grow in the future. This is just like a cultivator increasing his talent. If a cultivator's innate talent increases, they will have a bright future ahead of them. In the world of cultivators, increasing one's cultivation level is relatively easy, but increasing one's innate talent is extremely difficult. You should know that." Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but nod his head. Because what Great Immortal Sage was right. It was indeed too difficult to increase one's talent. If it was that easy to increase, how many geniuses were there in this world? Great Immortal Sage Lin Feng smiled bitterly. It seemed that the things in the fourth palace were all for cultivating pets. Lin Feng hadn't expected this. Lin Feng was a little envious of Bibi and the others. These little fellows had great opportunities waiting for them even when they were lying down and sleeping. Lin Feng took out these things. After coming out of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace, he directly entered the space-time continuum. Lin Feng called Bibi and the others over. Then, he took out a portion of the cultivation fluid and aptitude pill for Bibi and the others to consume. With so much cultivation fluid and aptitude pill, he naturally couldn't let them use it all at once. That would be a pure waste. Their bodies couldn't absorb it at all. Doing so would even cause harm to their bodies. Lin Feng naturally understood this point. After consuming the cultivation fluid and aptitude pill, the group of little fellows yawned and fell asleep. Bibi and the others often needed to sleep to digest these things. This was very different from cultivators. After Lin Feng came out of the space-time continuum, he took out the gourd of fortune. Murong Yushuan had been suppressed for many years. Lin Feng felt that Murong Yushuan and the chart of the God King should have been consumed over the years. It was time. He entered the chart of the God King and captured this woman. "Murong Yushuan, how are you feeling now?" Lin Feng asked. Murong Yushuan was silent. "It seems that your situation isn't too good," Lin Feng continued. Murong Yushuan was still silent. Lin Feng said, "It's time to end our grudge," Murong Yushuan said. "Lin Feng, what will it take for you to let me go?" "Hee hee," Lin Feng sneered and said. "When you joined forces with Prince Mingwei and the others to deal with me, did you think that you would end up like this? If I let you go, who will let me go? Our God King Valley is not to be trifled with," Murong Yushuan said coldly. "I know, but I don't care. Although the Valley of the God King is very powerful, it is destined to be an enemy of mine. After all, the Valley of the God King is a faction close to the Celestial Emperor. So, do you think that bringing up the Valley of the God King will be enough to deter me? Lin Feng said mockingly. Murong Yushuan's expression turned ugly. Indeed, the Valley of the God King couldn't threaten Lin Feng. In fact, it wasn't just the Valley of the God King that couldn't threaten Lin Feng. Even the Heavenly Court couldn't threaten Lin Feng. If you listen to me honestly, I might be gentler to you, Lin Feng said. Don't even think about it. The restrictions of the chart of the God King aren't that easy to break. Murong Yushuan replied coldly. Lin Feng said, I think that I should be able to break the restrictions of the chart of the God King now. I want to enter the chart of the God King and see what kind of situation you are in. Lin Feng called out the chart of the God King. The chart of the God King had been heavily sealed by Lin Feng. Therefore, even Murong Yushuan couldn't use the chart of the God King anymore. This was the top treasure of the Valley of the God King, and its power was terrifying. Lin Feng began to try to break the restrictions of the chart of the God King. Because the chart of the God King had its own space. Therefore, the restriction Lin Feng wanted to break was the restriction of the entrance to the chart of the God King. Lin Feng easily found the restriction of the entrance to the chart of the God King. However, it was very difficult to break it. Fortunately, it wasn't like before where he had no clue. In addition, Lin Feng had placed the chart of the God King in the Gourd of Fortune, so it couldn't absorb energy from the outside world. Therefore, the chart of the God King couldn't replenish itself. The restrictions of the chart of the God King were very weak. Therefore, Chapter 5180. Lin Feng spent around 20 days before he finally broke through the restrictions on the chart of the Godly King. 20 days passed in the space-time continuum. Only 2 days had passed in the outside world. After Lin Feng broke through the restrictions at the entrance, Lin Feng directly flew into the chart of the Godly King. He entered the inner world of the chart of the Godly King. The inner world of the chart of the Godly King was filled with beautiful scenery. Lin Feng saw Murong Yushuan sitting in a pavilion. She was dressed in white. She looked like a fairy. Murong Yushuan was one of the 10 great fairies of the Undying Realm. She was a goddess in the hearts of countless people. Her natural beauty was breathtaking. How beautiful! Lin Feng landed in the pavilion and said. However, young Master Qingsong doesn't have the fortune to be with you. My fate with you is not shallow, Lin Feng said. Murong Yushuan ignored Lin Feng's teasing. She looked at Lin Feng and sneered. Lin Feng, I'll ask you one last time. Are you going to let me go or not? No, Lin Feng said. Murong Yushuan said. Fine. If you don't let me go, don't blame me. What? Do you still have some powerful techniques that you haven't used yet? Lin Feng looked at Murong Yushuan and asked. That's right. I don't want to use these techniques easily. However, whether or not I use them in the end depends on your choice, Murong Yushuan said. Lin Feng said. Why don't you use them then? I'd like to see what you're capable of. Murong Yushuan saw that Lin Feng was stubborn. Murong Yushuan gritted her teeth. She said, Fine. You're forcing me. Murong Yushuan's hands continuously formed seals. Next, the inner world of the chart of the Godly King began to shake. Lin Feng could clearly feel a terrifying power surging out from the ground and the void. That terrifying power caused Lin Feng's expression to change. The self-destruction of the God King chart. Murong Yushuan's method was to destroy the God King's chart. If something as powerful as the Godly Monarch chart were to self-destruct, the Godly Monarch chart would be destroyed. The destructive power that was formed was indeed not something that ordinary people could resist. Even for someone like Lin Feng. Most likely it would be very difficult to resist the terrifying power released by the Godly Monarch chart when it self-destructed. Lin Feng quickly rushed towards Murong Yushuan. He couldn't let Murong Yushuan succeed. If Murong Yushuan really succeeded, the unlucky one was Lin Feng. Ninefold Galaxy. Seeing Lin Feng rushing over, Murong Yushuan gently waved her jade-like hand. Suddenly, the 9-star river world appeared in front of her. The ninefold galaxy world separated her from Lin Feng. If Lin Feng wanted to come to her side, he would need to cross the 9 layers of the celestial river. This was the use of spatial abilities. Although the 9-star river seemed to be able to be crossed in a single step, it contained a powerful spatial power. Therefore, the distance that seemed close was actually extremely far. It seemed that Murong Yuxuan must have thought of a way to deal with Lin Feng during this period of time. Therefore, every step of her plan was carried out perfectly. However, she neglected one point. That was Lin Feng's ability. Lin Feng had obtained the inheritance of the first space god. His Tao of space was definitely not something that Murong Yuxuan's Tao of space could compare to. On this point, Lin Feng dared to be 100% sure. Murong Yuxuan displayed the Tao of space in front of Lin Feng. It was a bit similar to the feeling of playing with a broadsword in front of Guangong. Facing the 9-star river, Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer. He directly stepped towards the 9-star river. Lin Feng directly crossed the 9-star river. How is this possible? Murong Yuxuan couldn't help but exclaim. She originally thought that the 9-star river could resist Lin Feng. In this way, it gave her the chance to self-destruct the God King's chart. Self-destruction of the God King's chart made Murong Yuxuan's heart ache. However, this was also the only way. After self-destructing the God King's chart to destroy Lin Feng, between protecting the God King's chart and becoming Lin Feng's prisoner, Murong Yuxuan chose to self-destruct the God King's chart without hesitation. Murong Yuxuan knew how powerful the God King's chart was. Once the God King's chart self-destructed, Lin Feng would definitely die. Of course, taking into account that Lin Feng also had many powerful treasures. So he might be able to keep his life. However, even if he could keep his life, he would definitely suffer unimaginable damage. At this time, he could kill Lin Feng in one fell swoop. The ideal was beautiful. Reality was cruel. Murong Yuxuan's 9-star river did not stop Lin Feng. Murong Yuxuan's plan completely failed. Lin Feng slapped Murong Yuxuan with his palm. Murong Yuxuan dodged in a somewhat sorry state. Her movements were interrupted. The space inside the God King's chart that had become extremely unstable began to gradually recover. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he looked at Murong Yuxuan fiercely. Lin Feng sneered and said, "When a woman is ruthless, there is really nothing a man can do. You are really ruthless, to even want to destroy the God King's chart, but your plan has already failed. Now, what other methods do you have? Use them all. Later, you won't even have the chance to use them." Murong Yuxuan's face was gloomy. She directly took out more than 10 powerful jade talismans. Those jade talismans directly exploded. Terrifying energy flooded towards Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng dodged it in advance. When Murong Yuxuan took out the jade talisman, she flew outside. Using the jade talisman to attack Lin Feng was just a feint. Her real goal was to escape. Lin Feng quickly chased after her. Murong Yuxuan's speed naturally couldn't keep up with Lin Feng's speed. Soon, Lin Feng caught up with Murong Yuxuan, and then slapped towards Murong Yuxuan with his palm. Murong Yuxuan had no choice but to stop and fight with Lin Feng. She also slapped out a palm towards Lin Feng. However, Murong Yuxuan was not a match for Lin Feng at all. Previously, Murong Yuxuan and Lin Feng were on par. Even if she couldn't compare to Lin Feng, the gap wasn't particularly big. However, after being imprisoned in the Gourd of Fortune for so many years, her cultivation didn't improve at all. Lin Feng's cultivation was advancing by leaps and bounds. So, compared to the current Murong Yuxuan and Lin Feng, there was already a big gap between them. Murong Yuxuan was sent flying by Lin Feng's palm. She only felt that her spiritual power was in chaos, and her blood was tumbling. Murong Yuxuan was aghast. Lin Feng's strength simply made her feel despair. Lin Feng came to Murong Yuxuan's side like a shadow. He used the powerful technique of the 8 divine seals. Dense runes flew towards Murong Yuxuan. Murong Yuxuan's face changed slightly. She wanted to resist those runes, but it was already too late. Those runes were branded on Murong Yuxuan's body, directly sealing Murong Yuxuan's spiritual power. Chapter 5181. Murong Yuxuan tried her best to calm down, but no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't calm down. In fact, it was no wonder that she couldn't calm down. After all, she was now Lin Feng's prisoner. Lin Feng could do whatever he wanted with her, so she was naturally afraid. If she was a man, she wouldn't have to worry too much. The worst result would be death. But the key point was that she wasn't a man, but a delicate and beautiful woman. There were naturally more things to worry about. Sometimes, you couldn't die even if you wanted to. That was the most terrifying thing. Why don't you say something about becoming a prisoner? Lin Feng looked at Murong Yuxuan and teased her. Murong Yuxuan really wanted to punch Lin Feng to death. This hateful guy's voice, appearance, everything about him was so hateful. It made Murong Yuxuan grit her teeth. In fact, before she met Lin Feng, her life was smooth sailing. She was born noble, powerful, and talented. Her figure and appearance were all excellent. She was a goddess who was sought after by countless people. The cultivators who liked her could circle the undying world. Moreover, her fiancé was young Master Qing Tsang of the 8 Great Princes. Such a life was simply envied by countless people. It wasn't until she met Lin Feng that everything began to change. This was a cultivator who suddenly entered the undying world and stirred up a storm. He even changed the structure of the undying world. Murong Yuxuan took a deep breath and said, "Now that I'm in your hands, you can do whatever you want with me. In any case, I can't resist." Lin Feng said, "Are you madly hinting at me?" Murong Yuxuan was startled, and then her pretty face blushed. She spat at Lin Feng. Then, she said speechlessly, "Who's hinting at you? Don't you have any shame? You clearly told me that I can do whatever I want with you. If this isn't a crazy hinting, then what is? Tell me, do you have a crush on me? Don't be afraid. Tell me what's in your heart." Lin Feng continued. Murong Yuxuan couldn't help but roll her eyes. She had seen shameless people, but she had never seen someone as shameless as Lin Feng. The word shameless wasn't enough to describe Lin Feng's shamelessness. "I only have one thought now," Murong Yuxuan said. "Is he madly confessing his love to me?" Lin Feng asked. "I just want to chop you to death," Murong Yuxuan said fiercely. It was enough to make a peerless fairy gnash her teeth in anger. This was a job that required a lot of skill. This was because these peerless fairies usually had very good tempers. It was very difficult to make them angry, but now in front of Lin Feng, Murong Yuxuan, it was really hard to suppress the anger in his heart. He saw Lin Feng. Murong Yuxuan couldn't help but be angry. There's a saying that the deeper the hatred, the deeper the love. "Yuxuan, I didn't expect you to love me so much." Lin Feng sighed. Murong Yuxuan was about to cry. This guy in front of her, was there something wrong with his brain? Said Lin Feng. "To comfort your lonely heart, I wanted to make you feel better. I've decided to give you something." "What is it?" Murong Yuxuan asked almost subconsciously. But in the next moment, her beautiful eyes widened. Her face was full of disbelief. Her mind instantly became blank. "My first kiss." Murong Yuxuan was completely dumbfounded. But after a short period of absent-mindedness, Murong Yuxuan had already recovered. Even though her magic power was sealed, she was still able to use it. However, his body wasn't restrained at all. Therefore, Murong Yuxuan's body could still move. She directly reached out to grab Lin Feng. But Lin Feng dodged in advance. "A woman should be gentler, so that a man can love you." Lin Feng looked at Murong Yuxuan with a smile that was not a smile. Murong Yuxuan was so angry that her whole body was trembling. She scolded. "You're despicable and shameless. You're taking advantage of people's difficulties. Now you're my private property, so no matter what I do, it's what I should do," Lin Feng said. "You're the property. I'm a person of flesh and blood," Murong Yuxuan said coldly. Obviously, she was extremely angry that Lin Feng compared her to property. Lin Feng said, "What's wrong? Are you angry? Actually, you don't have to be angry. The world of cultivators is so cruel. If you weren't beautiful, you wouldn't even have the qualifications to be my private property. I'll give you some time to think about what you should do next in your life. I think you're a smart person, so you should know how to make a choice." With that, Lin Feng left the inner space of the Godly King's chart. As for the Godly King's chart, it was still thrown into the gourd of fortune by Lin Feng. Murong Yushuan was a very important person, because the Godly King Valley behind Murong Yushuan was rather special. If he could pull the Godly King Valley to his side through Murong Yushuan, it would be extremely important. The reason why he said this was because the Godly King Valley had a lot of connections. When the time came, he would let the Godly King Valley lobby the other forces. Those forces would very likely submit to his side. In the future, in the decisive battle with the Heavenly Court, those forces would definitely be able to play a role. After coming out of seclusion, Lin Feng realized that the cursed doll and Little Sun were getting along quite well. Sometimes, the cursed doll would take Little Sun out for a stroll. Little Sun was still young, so he was naturally more curious about the outside world. Seeing Lin Feng, Little Sun seemed to be very happy. "Tonight is the Immortal Spirit Festival. Let's go light the Immortal Spirit Lantern tonight." Little Sun raised his head and looked at Lin Feng as he said, "Immortal Spirit Festival? What kind of festival is that?" Lin Feng asked in surprise. "It's a festival to light beautiful lanterns," Little Sun said innocently. He was still young, so he didn't understand these things. At that moment, the cursed doll said, "It's a festival to worship a peerless fairy." "Why do you say that?" Lin Feng asked curiously. The cursed doll said, "It's said that the peerless fairy was a goddess born in the sea. She was beautiful and moved, and she protected the islands in the sea. Later on, during a rather large disturbance, the fairy was killed while protecting the creatures in the sea." Chapter 5182. Lin Feng and the other two arrived at the outskirts of the island. There were many people here, and many of them were waiting to release the celestial spirit lamp. It's said that the fairy's name has the word Xian in it, but no one knows what it's called. She was a holy spirit born from the sea, so later generations gave her name and birth a word each, and named the festival to worship her celestial spirit festival. The cursed doll said. This guy had some understanding of the celestial spirit festival. Lin Feng realized that the cursed doll seemed to know a lot of things. After all, the cursed doll also had a glorious past. Lin Feng said, "To be remembered after being dead for so long, it really makes one feel a little emotional. For a dead person, perhaps this is the greatest honor." "Yes." The cursed doll nodded, then said, "However, being able to live is the most important thing. What's the use of dying with glory?" The cursed doll's words were crude, but the logic was not crude. Indeed, as the cursed doll said, being alive was the most important thing. If he died, everything would be for naught. On the beach, there were many peddlers selling celestial spirit lamps. 1 celestial spirit stone for 1 celestial spirit lamp. Just looking at the price, it was naturally not expensive. However, looking at the craftsmanship of the celestial spirit lamp, one could not help but want to complain. Because the craftsmanship was too crude, it was just some wooden strips with a layer of oiled paper on the outside. There was basically no cost. No wonder there were so many people selling celestial spirit lamps. It was simply a business without any cost. Selling this thing would definitely make a lot of money. Lin Feng bought 10 celestial spirit lamps. Then, he walked towards the beach with the cursed doll and Little Sunday. When they reached the beach, Little Sun lit the candle inside the celestial spirit lamp. The candle was not an ordinary candle. It was a candle made from the oil of a ferocious beast in the sea. 1 candle could burn for 10 days and 10 nights. After the candle was lit, the air inside the celestial spirit lamp would quickly decrease due to the burning of the candle. As a result, A difference in air pressure was formed, and the celestial spirit lamp would float. The celestial spirit lamp lit by Little Sun slowly rose into the sky. Little Sun was very happy and kept clapping his hands. Lin Feng also lit a celestial spirit lamp. Then, Lin Feng made a wish. His first wish was that everything he wished for in the future would come true. Lin Feng had too many things to do. Therefore, this wish of his was actually very big. Everything could come true, if it could be realized. He had no regrets in this life. Of course, Lin Feng was very clear that making a wish in front of an immortal spirit lamp and having it come true was simply unrealistic. Actually, it was a wish. It was more of a form of sustenance. The cursed doll also lit up an immortal spirit lamp. Then, he started to ramble. His voice was lowered, and no one knew what he was saying. After the long-winded speech, only then did the cursed doll release the immortal spirit lamp. Then, immortal spirit lamp. It slowly rose into the sky. Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and smiled as he said, "I really couldn't tell that you were someone who knew how to make wishes." The cursed doll pursed its lips and said, "What's wrong with making a wish? If you can do it, then so can I. What did you wish for?" Lin Feng asked. "I won't tell you," the cursed doll said with a mysterious expression. Lin Feng was only casually asking. He wasn't particularly interested in the cursed doll's wish. The Little Sun continued to light up the other immortal spirit lamps. One by one, the immortal spirit lamps rose into the sky. In the sky, many immortal spirit lamps had already appeared. Those immortal spirit lamps floated into the depths of the sea with the sea breeze. Whoa! But at this moment, in the sea, the sound of weeping actually came out. It was the sound of a woman crying. When he heard the weeping in the sea, Lin Feng's expression couldn't help but change slightly. Why was there suddenly a woman crying? Wasn't this too strange? Moreover, the strangest thing was that this crying sound clearly floated over from the sea. However, it seemed to be ringing in his ears. Lin Feng didn't know why this would happen. Many people had discovered something strange. Some experts were frowning as they thought about what was going on. As for the weaker cultivators, they saw this as a sign of a miracle. Many people even knelt on the ground and shouted, "God has appeared!" while kowtowing in the direction of the sea. No matter the time, there would always be people who were superstitious. "What do you think is going on?" Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and asked. "It's the cry of the sea lady," the cursed doll said. "The cry of the sea lady? What's that?" Lin Feng couldn't help but ask in confusion. When she floated out of the water and saw the outside world, there was a huge storm in the outside world. Many ships were overturned by the storm. However, the sea lady found a young man who was still alive, so she saved him. When the young man saw the beautiful sea lady, he fell deeply in love with her. The sea lady was worried about exposing herself, so she pretended to be a mute and followed the young man to the mainland world. However, the young man's family was very unusual. There was a very powerful cultivator in his family who saw through the sea lady's identity and placed her in a glass container filled with water. When the sea lady came into contact with water, she would grow a tail and become a mermaid. Therefore, when the sea lady was placed in the glass container, she grew a tail and became a mermaid. After knowing the identity of the sea lady, the young man's family was very excited because the sea lady knew about countless treasures in the sea. They forced the sea lady to bring them to the sea to search for treasures. "What about that man?" Lin Feng asked. The cursed doll said, "He chose to remain silent." Lin Feng said, "In the face of benefits and love, he chose benefits." The cursed doll nodded. "Of course, it can also be said that in the face of benefits and conscience, he chose benefits. The sea lady saved his life. There are too many cases of people biting the hand that feeds them. If it's like this in the secular world, it's even worse in the world of cultivators." Lin Feng sighed. "What happened in the end?" Lin Feng asked. "You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.